my hope, obviously, I do hope for a Chiefs Rams Super Bowl,
Oh my
but
gosh.
they got their
What a
they got
what
quite
a
a
what
path. They got
what a
quite a
what
path to get to.
what a way to start the new a new episode within a new year, ladies and gents. Welcome back to your favorite 420 podcast. This is your main host, Chino. Today's special guest here we have is um my guy. I'm sorry, my guy. I didn't get your name before
Sergio,
we Sergio. All right, Sergio. So Sergio from and then it's it's Juanamama Delights.
Juanamama Delights. Yeah, so people get a little
Okay.
stuck on it. Sometimes they'll say like Joanna Mama
Uh-huh.
or mainly it's Joanna Mama, but it's Juanamama Delights.
Okay. So
Yeah,
welcome my boy Sergio. It's Canna Vibe. You are the first guest of first year, so that's pretty.
yeah.
What's up, man? I'm pretty
Oh, dope,
excited. Pretty
dope, dope, dope.
excited, you know.
Super cool.
But yeah, my guy. Yeah, you know what? We were just talking about sports, so let's just get on that right now. So are you a KC fan then?
No, I'm a Rams fan. So
Ah,
I
okay.
was actually I actually was born and raised in LA, and my wife's from Chicago. So we moved here back in like I don't know 2017-ish. So I've been here quite a minute. Um, but yeah, no, Rams fan. We already got one since McVay and Stafford's been here, so I'm kind of like, all right, maybe this year they'll do it.
Hmm.
Stop the little dynasty that KC's trying to get going. So
Yeah, most definitely. And then I was very surprised that like once we got they got Stanford you know traded with golf and golf went to Detroit and off the bat right away you guys did win a Super Bowl and that was it just showed a lot from Stanford a lot because he was in
he was a
Detroit.
solid, yeah, he was a solid
You know.
quarterback. And he when he came here, it was just kind of like lightning in a bottle situation, you know what I mean? And when you got AD on the defense helping him out, getting him the ball back quick
Mhm.
helps. But now that he's gone, it's kind of been a little bit of a struggle. But
Yeah, but you still got some weapons though. You
oh
know
hell yeah.
you still got some decent weapons. So we'll see how it goes. Like we were mentioning right now too. The game is actually still going on. The wild card, as we are actually recording, ladies and gents, it's actually halftime. I actually am seeing it right now. Uh, but yeah, man. I mean, I watched the weekend games. It was something, man. Houston barely made it. I think they barely won that game.
Yep.
Uh,
Super
and
upset.
And then the Steelers, bro. I wanted the Steelers to take that dub, but at the same time, I wanted Lamar Jackson to also take the dub because the both
Dude,
teams deserve the dub, but like
yeah. I think Lamar, he's a beast, man. Like he's just the way he's like runs the pocket, like it's insane. And so I'm kind of like if there was, if at any point we were to see them, then I'd be like, oh fuck, it might be a little interesting. I mean, most pretty much all teams in the playoffs right now would be would be interesting. I was looking at the brackets just now, and I was like, man, even just getting past the Vikings, then
mhm.
you get what Detroit, and then after that, presumably, KC. So I don't know. No, actually,
I,
no, Philadelphia. We play Philadelphia first, and then from Philadelphia. Let me look at the bracket real quick.
okay, so it's
Yeah.
Washington and Detroit, and then I guess whoever wins this game it goes against Philadelphia, and then you got Houston and KC, and then Baltimore and the Bills.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah, that Baltimore Bills game is gonna be good.
Yeah, yeah, I'm pretty excited. It's like what next week Saturday.
Yeah, yeah.
That's wild, man. I can't believe how KC made it to the playoffs, but with the record that they have, and they weren't even playing good. I'm like,
Dude,
how?
that's why, I guess if you look at it in any specific way, any sport can get crazy like that. But I think football, because of the limited amount of games that you got, throughout the year, half of the season, you're like, okay, well, anything can happen at that point, right? Like at the beginning of the season, um, you know, some of our weapons were out. We had a pretty depleted, when they played the Bears, I was there. That shit
Mhm.
sucked. It was a horrible game for me. Great game for like my friends, like my wife, because she's a Bears fan. And, but it's just the way they imploded in that game was kind of like every game was like they just came short of winning. And then, Cup came back, sorry. And Higby now, they got some options.
Yeah, most definitely. But like going back to like I guess how teams were playing this season, like personally, I do fantasy. This is my it's like I did. I'm
Too
not
much.
really I'm not like an expert at fantasy. It's like my year two, but like I just kind of was noticing like a lot of the pro like I guess like not like yeah like the athletes that we all know have gotten injured this whole season. Like it's all about the rookies this year. Like that's what I kind of seen. Um, and you got to see a little bit of like who's new, and you got to see, of course, new faces.
Yep.
Um, but like most definitely, like who really surprised me was Bo Nix and Jalen Daniels, bro. Like kind of like coming from like a standpoint of view, like a point of view from like a Chicago Bears fan. Because
Yeah.
although, yeah, I'm a Bears fan, but like low key, I'm a Cowboys fan too. You know, like
Okay. Okay.
I'm a Cowboys guy. I
All
actually
right.
lived in Texas for like 2 years.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I lived outside of like Dallas, a suburb called Richardson. So it was pretty dope, man. I mean, like I think going back, like thinking about it, like I would honestly go back to Texas and then like live out there.
Like if there was
Um,
like an option to go there or like, like your next spot would probably be Texas or Dallas.
yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah, probably not the same area, but yeah, just Texas in general. Like I don't know, just knowing everything, like it's kind of big out there. Like just
Mhm.
probably like I don't know. I think like it's a little more affordable than here in Chicago because like although I was born and raised here, like it's kind of a hassle sometimes to to afford things. You know, like the cost of living in here.
Oh, 100%. Like when you go, if you go like to other markets like Texas, I know a lot of friends from, California that moved to like Arizona, but usually Texas, like Houston or well, I'm trying to remember what other places they would move to, but they were like, it was just like so much easier to get a house there, cheaper there, obviously no taxes. Um, but yeah, it's kind of like a double-edged sword, right? Because there are certain things that are, it's cheaper, but there are things that are just different, there. Like, cannabis, for example, right? Like they apparently like right now it's supposed to be like the wild, wild west because they don't THC or marijuana or like cannabis is illegal still, but because of the hemp bill,
Hmm.
like their hemp market is like booming, which is
So
crazy.
over there in Cali,
No, in Texas.
oh, in Texas, oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. So like you'll get like
I'm guessing like what your THCA stuff or
yeah, at least from what I've seen online. I mean, I've never been to Texas. I've just from like seeing like, different accounts that I've been following since like the pandemic when like Clubhouse was like a thing, that was actually kind of a cool period because like you got in contact with, people in other markets and like getting like boots on the ground kind of like information, like what it's like, market wise in like areas that you wouldn't even think of or obviously like if you don't know anybody from a specific city they say like Maryland or Boston or whatever just having those firsthand accounts is kind of it was pretty cool but I've been following them since like different accounts since then so
so like for example, like what would be like a state or a city that I guess not a lot of people would know that would kind of that got you kind of shocked. They'd be like, oh, there's
I
a
think
lot of
I think for me it was Boston. It was like Massachusetts.
uh-huh.
I was just like I wouldn't have thought that they would have come online before a lot of other states. Like on the
What?
East.
Well, actually, they became legal though.
That's what I'm
Like,
saying. That's what I'm saying is they were one of the
okay,
first ones on the East Coast to go to allow recreational.
gotcha. Is that like what besides NYC?
So yeah, so like NYC would have come online if I'm not mistaken this year. Like not January, but right before January.
Gotcha.
if
And
I'm not
then
mistaken.
you don't really got anything else, right? Besides those two?
Um, I didn't hear a lot of like anything from like Wisconsin until I met what's his name? This dude from A Good Plug or from like Wisconsin. Like he posts a lot of stuff about like that state, but that's the only account that I necessarily follow from that state. Um, I kind of was thinking like what it's like to see like the different markets, and let's just take like Latino owned businesses, like what do they look like in other markets. So it's always kind of cool to see, even just like in California, like between LA or like Southern California and Northern California, they're two totally different markets, two totally different. Even actually, you can also throw in like San Diego. So it's actually kind of like three different markets, right? Because you got San Diego, LA, and then you got like Northern California. And it's like the closer you get to Northern California, it's usually where you get closer to like the mecca of like really, really good like flower because it's like the Humboldt Triangle up there.
And is that like true? Like,
So
can you
I
like can
I've
you
had
like you
flower. I've had flower. There's a couple a brand that owns a brand called Seventh Wave. They have really, really good flower. Like I haven't tried their concentrates yet, but the last couple times that I've gone, they've got distribution down in LA now. But this dude's been doing like he's come from like Legacy and has been just doing this for like decades. And it's just it I never really thought about it up until maybe the last couple years. I don't know if it's just because like my palate's gotten a little bit more refined. I'm still not like, oh, this is like super blueberry or like, I'm not like a Gangier or one, like a wine sommelier of weed, but you could definitely when you smoke good weed, it tastes really good. It doesn't like make you choke or anything. It goes down. There's a lot more flavor in it. I was just take a little sesh. I
oh,
got a
go
little shit
ahead.
heat up.
Actually, what you talking on?
So this is just I got a batter of the fuck was this? This is a Mac one from a buddy of mine. Um actually I wanted to hopefully some of these plants that I'm growing right now, hopefully I'm gonna see if Johnny, the Mojo's dude, I'm gonna see if he can press it for me. But I think he just got like uh uh, one of those. It's like an auto wash. So like right now, like you have like a where you wash your flour
Mhm.
to like do hash and shit. He got one of those things because those things are like not cheap. They're like pretty expensive. And so I'm gonna see if I can have him do it and we can film it for like the series that we're trying to do.
Gotcha. So, uh, I know we kind of went all over the place right now,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that's the whole point of here, my guy. But so I'm gonna take it back. I'm sure we're gonna get back to the football later in the show, which is cool. But like, one, so besides, I guess like celebrities and stuff like that, and I mean, just because you even mentioned yourself, like I guess people who stay in Cali, but also who have moved out of Cali, but like. Do you think, do you know, like, or do you like have a thought of like why people have left Cali?
Why they would move? I mean, probably just like cheaper way to get a house. I mean, you get more bang for your buck in other places. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Uh,
So, and it's probably and like the surrounding states. A lot of people migrated pretty much to like Vegas. That's what it was. It was Vegas, and then I had a couple of friends in Texas, and then Arizona. Um, but that's what I would assume because more often than not, it was like a year after people left, it's like boom, got a house. So, and it's not like it's like small houses. They're like you would get a lot of space. But I think even those markets now, even those areas now are probably, you know, filled up now too. Especially Vegas because they have so many, now they don't just have gambling, they got weed, they got everything under the sun that you would want there.
true, true, true. And then, I mean, you can do shit that you can't really do in other states as well. So I mean, I guess why not, right?
Yeah, no, yeah. I think it's just the reality of getting a like buying a house. I mean, it's just kind of like Chicago, right? Like the reality
Hmm.
of buying, like let's say you grew up in like Pilsen or um I don't know. I think it's easy for me to like pick out cities in LA. So let's say I grew up in K-Town. If I wanted to buy a house in K-Town right now, that shit's like millions of dollars, right? So
Hmm.
it's not like it's kind of weird, right? Because it's good and bad in that like it's progress and like the houses in like that area that you grew up in that was considered maybe the hood, like prices of them are going up. Maybe new businesses come in, more resources come in. So now new generations that are growing up in that same area probably have better access to, better education, better whatever. But you're like thinking like, damn, I wish I could have had that. Like, when I was growing up in this area, like, but it's just the way it is, right? And so, you know, that's why a lot of people think end up moving to the suburbs versus like trying to buy something in the city. It's if you have the money, if you could do it, great, but if not, you're probably going to get more bang for your buck in suburbs. So I think that's kind of the same thing with LA or like with any other like state that has you know a lot of different industries like smacked into it, like Chicago, like New York, like
Hmm.
San Francisco. You know what I mean? That's
See,
what I.
yeah, but like, I guess like what you were just mentioning though, like, for one is like how you said like how you wish you had those like resources back then to what they have now, but like I guess is what one thing I would say is like I guess like for a better living that you gotta like I guess there's a bigger cost to it, which kind of sucks because like I feel like you know I guess that has to do again with I guess with government power or like people with power at the end, because
Mhm.
like I guess what saves our goals is because of the higher ups, but like I guess if they were to actually I guess help people out, is like I guess why not get those resources, but let that be like accessible for those who need it. Like for
Mhm.
example, like what just happened with the Luigi guy that
Yep.
assassinated the healthcare guy that kept denying people for those who actually needed the medications and all like
Insurance.
that. Yeah, the insurance and stuff. So that for that is like that shouldn't be the case, like that shouldn't be happening because like again it's those people who need it, who actually need it.
Yeah.
And then one more thing is like, I guess isn't that what I don't know, is that the right term? Like genderifying it, like when you got like other different type of class people coming into another neighborhood
Oh,
while pushing.
gentrification.
Yeah, there you go, huh?
Yeah, it's like that is like one of those like I said, it's one of those double-edged swords. Like, if let's say you had a house or whatever, you know, since like back in the day, and you kind of hit the right decade, you might be able to create generational wealth, right? So like maybe, you had the house and it's now been a couple decades and now that area is getting super popular, or it's kind of like there's usually an epicenter, and in this case it's like downtown, right?
Hmm.
And the closer you can get to downtown, those areas like kind of get populated and it kind of pushes out, and it's like, well, that these areas are already too full. You go to the next, like if you think of like a circle with like different layers, right? So it's like it expands out. And so my thinking is like as it pushes out, you know, other parts of the city are gonna just have blow ups. Kind of like with like so like with LA, like there's a lot of natives that end up moving like to the valley or like to like east and or sometimes south. Um like Orange County or whatever, and or San Diego. Um, but not even those places are getting more expensive. So it's like it's just like it just is. I think it's just part of populations and inner cities and stuff. Like the the more you put into a city. Let's say like with downtown, you're getting what potentially a new Bear Stadium. So then what happens to Soldier Field? Like, is there going to be a soccer? Like, is the fire going to like build a new stadium there? Or, like it's like usually trying to pack a bunch of like entertainment stuff there.
Hmm.
So people want to live there. So everything else just gets more expensive over time.
Although that would be kind of cool, but I feel like I doubt that would happen because like that's I guess that's like considered like part of the city of Chicago property. So it's like I guess that would have to like lead up to the city, like whoever is like in charge of that. But like that would be cool because then you're just like kind of leaving an empty space,
Hmm.
like
Yeah, because then what else is going to be there? Like,
like I don't know why they kind of took fire off Toyota Stadium because I think that was a pretty cool, decent stadium. It's small and
mhm,
all, but like, and now it turned to like where festivals can be at and shit like that. So like,
mhm.
I mean, again, I guess it has its pros and cons to it, but like, I'm not too sure, man.
It's
You
crazy.
know, yeah,
And it's crazy and it's all kind of like connected to each other.
yeah, it really is. I just kind of feel like some people kind of don't see that though.
Yeah.
I
Well, I
mean,
mean,
it's just
it's easy to kind of like, stick to your lane and like if, you know, like, if you're, let's say if you're a first generation, second generation, you know, uh here in the States, you're trying to survive. And so like you're like, I gotta go to school, I gotta, do what I gotta do to get like to get a degree, to get a good job, to like, you know what I mean? So it's like
yeah.
you're so busy. It's easy to be very busy in thinking in that. And it's like not a it's a prioritization that that we kind of you kind of get forced it's kind of like you're born into it. You know what I mean? For
Yeah,
some.
because
Not everybody has to deal with that. So
but I feel like that's like the majority, right? Because like you kind of how you said we're born to because we grow up and the first thing we know is like we just gotta go to school, we gotta learn, 'cause that's the place to learn, man. I mean, like I feel like there's no other way. I guess unless homeschool, but like I think
well,
that's
now
kind of
that's an option.
rare. Well, I guess yeah, now it's an option. Thanks
Yeah.
COVID and all, but like prior to that, I felt like that was kind of rare. Like I didn't never kind of met anyone who was at homeschooled. Everyone I knew has gone to school or whatever. Like
Yeah.
but yeah, but then other besides that, dude, I feel like that kind of leads to like the system though. Like I call it the system because like it's literally like you're just in line with everybody
Yep.
and it goes to school to like your 9 to 5 and you just repeat it, man, and that kind of sucks ass. I mean, I don't know, like personally me, bro, like I want to get out of that system, like I'm trying to not follow the person in front of me or and if anything I want to lead probably the people behind me and be like, hey, it's cool to step out of line or whatever, do your own thing.
I think it's a part of growth, like it's to have those kind of like aspirations and to find the momentum to do it. Sometimes you got to shed weight and it's not really personal. It's more so like I can't do this part for you. You know what I mean? And if things not working, like a relationship or a friendship or whatever, then you're kind of like thinking, man, like, like you said earlier, right? Like we focus on what we're trying to do, and if it doesn't serve that purpose, you know, oh, why put so much energy into it? And so like I think it's you do it like for example, you're doing the podcast. I think like just in cannabis in general, right? Like this is a kind of an important part of a potentially very large industry. Like like if you just think 10, 20 years down the line, right?
Hmm.
Like if you compare it to alcohol when it went from prohibition to where we are now, it's essentially like we're still on prohibition with cannabis. And so it's like for me, for example, like I don't care to be the first like Latino, the first like whatever to do anything. I just don't want to be the last one. You know what I mean? Meaning like I want people after me, like anybody, everybody to like be able to look at it as a viable option. Like you know what I mean? Like something that's like, you know, maybe somebody's proud to be like, yeah, I'm like right now it's like I own a mezcal brand or I own a tequila brand. And it's like to get to that point, you know, from where it was illegal,
Hmm.
you know, anybody that starts a business right now, you, Johnny, me, Carlos, you know, all these people have different types of businesses in cannabis or types of, you know, um, goals in cannabis. It's like we're all kind of pioneers in a way, but I don't like saying it, but it's like in reality, if everything goes well, if all our endeavors do their thing, kind of grow up to the way they're supposed to, then the potential to be able to say like, you know, there's a shit ton of people that now can do it. It's like when you see your like for me, when I would go to dispensaries before, like so in LA before it went recreational, they had Prop 215 or 216, I forgot what it was. But basically that was medical. And
Hmm.
so you had to get a medical card. It was like $40 and you do your interview, and you got your card. Everything was like it was kind of like in Oregon. It was not like deli style, but you would roll in there and like the jars were, you know, in the casings. So they pull out the jar, you know, whatever you're looking for. They open it, you smell it. That was the only one thing that I was kind of weird about. I'm not a germaphobe or anything, but like you think about it, like if you open up a jar and you're just giving it to every single person that walks into that store
Hmm.
to put their nose in it and like smell, that was kind of weird. But being able to see it before you actually bought it, like that was dope. Um and then going to like the recreational where everything now you can't see it, it's taxed like super super crazy. It just kind of it's just is what it is like for now.
Hmm.
Here to Chicago, I got here before it went recreational. So I had to get a card here, and that
How
was
how was your
that ended up
process?
costing me, dude, bro, that shit was such a fucking adventure. So I had to find a doctor. They weren't a lot. It was like one dude, and now he has an edible. But
Dr. C?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Shout out to Dr.
it's
C, man.
yeah, and so you go and it was like 150 for his consultation or for the consultation, or whatever. And then I think another 150. It was like 300-400 bucks for the fucking card. And but it was so
That's wild.
after the first year, obviously I didn't have to do his consultation. I just had to renew it online. And uh I think after the first renewal, it hit the pandemic hit. And then because it was 2017, 2018 got legal, and then 2019, 2020 was in pandemic. So during the pandemic, they if you had the card, it was active, and you had to renew it, it just automatically renewed by itself. Like you didn't have to pay that year.
Oh, okay, that's what's up.
So and then after that expired or was going to expire, I listened to a lot of talk, like sports talk radios. I listen to ESPN like all day, like from like when I get on my computer to work to like just around this time.
Hmm.
Um, I'm listening to ESPN LA. And so, but it's interesting because you're listening to the app. Some commercials are for businesses in LA, but there are other commercials that are local. And so it was something of it was like a Veraheel or Vera. It's not the dispensary name, it's a totally different one, but it sounds familiar.
Hmm.
Um, I want to say it's Vera Life or Vera Heal, one or the other. But that one you had an online, it was an app. You just go on the site, um, and you did a tele video interview, and then it was like $100 for like, I think they changed the pricing. I think it's like for 5 years. So I'm like, I have a 5 year license left. And then I
And
got to after that.
how much was it though, that for renewing it?
Renewing it, I think it was less than $100.
Oh, okay.
Like it wasn't, I was like, damn, I was like, hell yeah, this is perfect. Because there's perks, obviously, right? Like I can't, like I can grow my own. but
Uh-huh.
it's like super, super strict the way it has to be grown with a medical card. But then beyond that, you can go to dispensaries and, during the pandemic, it was dope because it was, you got priorities. So you would just walk down through the line. So it's like you got the recreational line, it's a shit ton of people waiting, and you just walk through to
Hmm.
the to get your shit. But yeah, I mean it's beneficial in that, you're afforded the right to be able to grow this shit, which
But
is what I do.
that's pretty wild to mention that there was lines
Hmm.
to these dispensaries because when when they got wrecked, I was only 20.
Hmm.
So I had to, of course, wait another year. But that's wild. Like for like I guess just knowing myself, like just knowing the fact that these prices in dispensaries are wild. Like
Yeah,
just
they're fucking nuts.
like why
It's
would
just, it's
I
the
don't know why
taxes.
these like I don't know why people would like actually wait in line to get taxed. Like up the ass. Like
Look, I'm not gonna front, dude. Like
ah.
the reality of you wanting to grow, right? Or like let's
Hmm.
say like me growing. I haven't been growing since I got my card. I've only had like 3 or 4 grows. So there are times in between that I don't grow shit. One, because I'm still going through my shit. And then once I finish my shit, I'm like, oh, I have to wait to like grow. And so now then I gotta go to the dispensaries. You know what I mean? Or, plugs for me, like it's the immediate access that I need like right then and there. Otherwise, if let's say it was open enterprise and plugs could just like, you know, set up shop somewhere, I think it'd be a lot easier, but that's not the case. So, you know, at least I don't pay taxes, and
Hmm.
I try to go. I mean, it's hard to find like really super great flour. Um,
Don't get
but
me started on the flower here, man. It's
but
kind of
concentrate concentrate wise, like, the arise stuff is not bad. Like, and it's relatively, at least from what I saw, just because I looked at every dispensary menu, when I first got here, like Aries or Arise, however you spell it, say it or pronounce it.
Is it the one with the white case?
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
the
yeah,
white
yeah, yeah.
packaging.
Okay, okay, yeah.
They're super intuitive in their packaging. They give you a lot of information. Um, but like, you know, even
Mhm.
just like the dablicator, the hash oil that they have, that shit's
Yeah,
fucking like it's perfect, right? Because you can either pour it into like your Puffco or like your rig or whatever. And I'm just thinking more so like, not everybody's a connoisseur, right? So I don't expect Joe Schmo or like an older, you know, like boomer to like get like dab and know what good concentrates are, right? Like it,
yeah.
but it's like that's part of the knowledge. It's like it's not just like, knowing what works for you for what you want to do, right? Like so for me, like I dab when I'm doing like my work, not my work, but like after hours work. For me, it's the most pleasant because I get like I don't like flour hits me like super hard. And I feel like with concentrates, it's like within an hour, 2 hours, that shit's gone already. But I got
Mm,
the access to what I wanted to like do work wise, like creatively speaking.
gotcha.
So, anyways,
See,
so all that to say is that I think for the Illinois market, they're one of the first companies to like put out like functionally good products. And then after that, um, now there's a lot more hash products now. I'll say that. But yeah, before it was just like maybe one drink. I think it was like tonic. And then yeah, it wasn't, I mean, it was, yeah, because it was like the big three or the big four like before. And not you don't beyond their stuff, you see a lot of brands, but it's the same company, right?
yeah,
Like GTI is like fucking Bebo or like it's like 20 different brands that
yeah. It's under
that
one big ass company.
right? Exactly. And then so like at least for me, like close to me or locally, um the the medical dispensaries, you don't have like a lot of the social equity brands. And I don't know if it's different now, but like when I went, I think there were already, I think 1937 had already put out stuff. The 1937 group.
Yeah.
They had like Bloom. That's what they had. They had Bloom in their in dispensaries. And
They also have the old pal.
Old Pal, that's what it was. Yeah, 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 yeah. So like I think I was in a couple, I don't want to say the name of the dispensary, but like I rolled up there thinking, all right, I thought social equity was like a really big thing. And so I'm like, do you know which brands are social equity? You know, and they're like, I don't know that we have any. And they had to go ask somebody else.
Oh my God.
And then there was one dispensary where I asked the same thing, and the dude was like, I don't think we have any, but we do have this one. I'm trying to remember the name of the brand, but it wasn't a social equity. It was one of the MSO brands. It was not PharmaCann. I forgot the name of it. I was just like, damn. So where are the social equity brands? Like you don't see, there's not a ton of them, and they're
Uh-huh.
not. And I don't know if it's because they just don't have access to, what dispensaries are where, or I think they can't sell it at medical places. So like,
Really?
yeah, so like for example, and that's I think one of the things that Canequity, the advocacy group, I think they were just talking about I don't know if it was in the omnibus, but it's like basically legislation to allow medical card holders to get their discounts at recreational shops. So like if you go to certain shops, they're both medical and recreational.
Hmm.
But if it's something that's on the recreational menu, you can't buy it without getting taxed, even if we're
Ah,
medication, which is kind of
fair.
stupid, right? Because it's the same.
Yeah.
It's not like it's not a different product. It's the same product, but just because it's they can only like I guess the social equity brands can only sell their products at recreational stores. It's just part of the law. And so
That's
it's kind
stupid.
of like it's kind of fucked up, right? Because like
Yeah.
they have like these four companies that have been selling this shit for like years. Like
Hmm.
no problem. Like, hey, fucking any store that's open, I can put products in there if I want. But now the new licenses, uh, they don't have the same access to put their products in stores like where it makes sense to beyond like one or two, right? Because there's not many
Yeah,
dispensaries either, like new dispensaries that have, you know, and if I have a medical card, like I want to be able to use the benefits of it.
of course, you know.
So
But that's pretty fucked up because like um
they start
one
with like
you
they
said a
start with
lot.
like one hand. They start handicapped basically.
No, but my no. Okay, so my thought came back. So my thing is it's fucked up to me because like what if like my theory is here is like what if like that was like the problem with like the GTI situation like with like the
Them lobbying against it.
yes. So then like that's the whole point right there though. It's like I that's like where they get their whole monies right there.
They're gatekeeping. That's the best. It's like the best way when you
It's
limit the competition.
it's that I think that's that because like it's not fair that only you have to shop only their brands or whatever, but like only because like another X brand is on the rec menu, does you know you can't get that, but like at the same time I feel like that's hurting the sales on the dispensary side, but like at the same time, like I'm sure those dispensaries are their dispensaries, you know, like
Well, yeah, it's kind of like not a losing battle, but like if you look at numbers that they release, and the Chillinois podcast dude, he's pretty good about posting when they do release information about like revenue and like how
mhm,
much money they made per quarter. It's not like it's slowing down. Like there's like been dips in the last year or two, but part of that I think is they're not able to put their products in every store, or at least every store that wants them have them there. Because like even the stores can, if you have a dispensary, I would assume It's not like you have to like carry a product if you don't want to. So, or
Uh,
if you don't have the
uh,
space. So
but
it's kind of like it's not like the if they were really thinking about these social equity brands, if it was me and
mhm.
and somebody told me there's 100 stores, but out of those 100 stores, you can only put your products in like 30% of that in three of them or 30 of them rather. So you're kind of like, well, just the expectation is for me to be successful as those group of brands or companies that have access to all those stores. And let's say it's a numbers game. As long as I have products in those stores, then I can sell those products. But now you're limiting it, you're funneling it into just like this little section. And it's like, well, damn, how do you expect me to like
Explore.
yeah, how do you expect me to
But
to
but
do
then
well?
but then I think that's where like I guess that's where like their membership or rewards, whatever kicks in because like they got you hooked on already on like your go-to product or your favorite brand or whatever. Because
Yeah,
one, it's the nearest dispensary to you. And two, like I'm sure you don't want to drive like another extra 30 20 30 minutes just to get your eight or a gram of wax, you
yeah,
know? Especially knowing it's gonna end up costing you like 80 70 bucks, you know? And this is just like on the
yeah.
rec side, on the rec side. So just like how like I was like listening to you, just talk about all these brands, like it would be nice for me to like talk about all these brands as well because like it's like I, I want to, but at the same time it's like I'm not gonna be wasting my money every single time
Yeah.
on weed because I want to try it, like so
You want to know your product because like every time you buy a product, especially if it's new to you, it's kind of a gamble, right? And it's
right.
not a cheap gamble because let's say an eighth, that's like what 30 40 bucks they'll advertise it plus tax that ends up being like 60 bucks. That's I'm saying on the cheap side, right? But then you get like the top tier or like what they consider is top tier. Um, and they'll put you at like $60 an eighth. So now, yeah, that
Right.
it's like costing you 80 bucks, 100 bucks. But it's like, oh, but if you buy two eighths, we'll give you $5 off. And you're just
Yeah,
like,
but like if you think
oh,
about that's the taxes though.
yeah, exactly. It's like it's but you don't know how many people are just like, oh yeah, I'm already here, might as well. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And
that
it's
that's the
because
sad thing though. That's the sad thing about it because like I feel like this our own state is kind of just like screwing us up in front of our faces, but I think like the people don't want to accept the fact,
Mhm.
because like we just kind of were mentioning like that's your I guess your nearest dispensary, like at the same time like I don't know if it's just me, but I don't know if other people also think of like real world problems, like think
They
about your
do.
gas, bro. Like think about your gas. Like think about like I mean like personally, bro, like if I were to go get an eighth here, that's like just me going back home. That's my ride home, like that's
Yeah,
my
yeah,
J
yeah.
to go home, like that like it's not gonna last me like a week or anything. It's like
Yeah.
my 80 bucks down the drain is gonna be gone within like 30 minutes. Like
And I think that's the benefit, like, like I said, like it's, being able to do it, like having the medical card and be able to grow like legitimately, like it's a it's a bigger spend at the beginning, but overall, like it makes sense because then, but it kind of doesn't, because you also don't realize there's some people that, you know, they don't have the space to grow, like to
mhm.
grow an amount that's going to last you like however much time before your next grow because it's I've seen people with like those little Hey Abby things, the it's like a little grow box,
Yeah. Like
and
what they be like
it's cool.
promoting and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's cool, but I think it's for the price. I don't know. It's because you can spend less if you had just a little bit more space, with like a tent. I mean, the one thing I will say that it is meant more so for like convenience of like in a small space. So it does make sense in that respect. But,
I feel like that is just more meant for like a one plant thing, like
it is a one plant thing. And, and even for like first time growers, like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, I honestly, like, I just know when after growing it, you know, it smokes good. I don't like shit's like not, I don't, I grow in salt. So, well, cocoa. So I use nutrient. It's considered hydro, right? It's not soil. So this is it looks like so there's one over there,
hmm
but this is also another one. So like this stuff is a cocoa coir and it's ground up coconut husks, but it acts as like a soil, it replaces soil. It's just it
interesting.
has nothing in it. So like if you leave the plant or you just water it, it'll die because it's literally just getting water, not nutrients.
So like, are you like so for like the plant that you just shown, and I guess the one
Yeah.
that's behind you, like you said, is that like what are you like? Is that like what like your bonsai? Or is that are you like
No,
actually like growing that to smoke it? Cause
so both. So
okay,
so I had my first girl, I had three. It was a Bruce Banner, a wedding cake, and a white widow. And I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I had a 2x4 tent
hmm
and I just let that shit grow. And I didn't realize that the way these things work is basically it's two cycles, right? So there's the vegetative cycle and the flowering cycle. The vegetative cycle basically you create or grow out half the size of what you're expecting to do. So if I want this plant to be 8 feet, I got to grow it to 4 feet and then flip it. So like while it's growing, um, let's say it's so like this one is if this is the height that it stays at, do I have a fucking measuring tape? I usually do, but this one's about 2 feet, and I let it grow about a foot and a half, so maybe it'll grow to 3 feet. So like you basically are trying to keep it as small as possible before you change the time that the lights are on. So like when you first start, the plant gets 18 hours of light and
hmm
6 hours of darkness. When you decide for photo periods. So when you decide to flip it, it you change the light cycle to go from 12 hours on and 12 hours off. So that literally just kickstarts it to start growing the buds. But it grows it out like however tall. So like this already grew out. When I changed the time, it was, oh, you can't see it. Here you go. So
Oh shit, that's a big plant.
so I changed the time when it was this tall.
Okay.
When you change the light cycles, it has this growth spurt and it doubles in size.
Oh shit.
So basically I didn't know that the first time.
I didn't know either.
I didn't
That's
know that.
interesting.
And so um my first grow, they got too big for me to handle. Like it was just I had like I don't know how much weed I had counted,
hmm
but I had like maybe 8 jars, like big ass fucking gallon
Oh
jar.
shit.
And but after you grow, you're like, damn, I can't keep it all like this. I got to be able to do something with it. And so, all
hmm
right, well, maybe I'll just fucking. I was already trying to make seltzers, so that originally was what we were, or that's my goal, I guess. Maybe final boss situation is having seltzers in a dispensary or in the legal market or whatever. Um, but that's the reason why I started growing, which was that seltzer that I had made. Um, I was thinking, all right, I'm gonna get a license, and then that license with the infuser license, they give you the ability to Um, like you can only buy the product or like oil from a craft grower. And so, all right, if I get this license and I have to work with a craft grower, that means I can't grow it. So I need to be able to go to a craft grower, at least to start with. I'm gonna have to be able to go to their farms and look at their flowers and see if it's good. Because I at the time I didn't know what the fuck, like when I just knew what dried flower looked like, not
Hmm.
growing flower, or the
Hmm.
practices of actually growing it, like what nutrients people use, like their feeding cycles, like their methodologies. I wanted to know what that looked like so that when I did go to craft grows, I could look at their plants and be like, damn, that shit's thirsty. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I wanted to be able to like be a fucking going to a grape farm and like looking at the fucking grape and being like, this is not going to make good wine, you know?
Yeah, I know what
Yeah.
you mean. Yeah,
I
like
mean,
kind
and
of like
so
being an
I
expert in
wanted
your
to know what I
field.
was looking at, right?
Hmm.
So, then I was like, all right, I'm gonna grow. And that's when I started, that's when those three fucking plants got too tall. Um, but just doing it, you kind of learn more, I think. Like I mean, I watched a lot of YouTube videos and
I think that's your friend, dude. Most definitely.
yeah, it's just
And of course, like the people who are already growing and stuff like that, of course. But like,
yeah. And I think for me it helped too, because like it was during the pandemic. So I was like, man, this is great. Like it's therapeutic in a way and like whatever. But yeah, I when I met Johnny, I was like, dude, we just hit it off really well. And I was talking about making hash, and he was like, I'm trying to get this. He already has like he has a lot of stuff. He has a bunch of gadgets that I want. And
hmm.
I'm like jealous. And I'm like, motherfucker, but he's like down, I'm sure like, to use them, but it's just timing is off. And like I think we were doing like a grow together, but apart. So we both had the same genetics. Like he had like I think seeds from goat genetics.
Hmm.
And um we were just talking, and I was like, after seeing his grow, I was like, damn, like you have everything dialed in. Like he has everything on timers, fucking super scheduled out. Like this dude like has his shit like autopilot, right? But I was thinking, what if, we kind of document the way you have your plants and the way I have my plants and kind of compare the end result. And so we both grew out, I think, Bahama Gushers and Goat Glue. His plants came out great. Like they tested really good. I made a graphic for it, which we haven't even posted because it's just I'm all over the place
Hmm.
at the moment. And so I was gonna do a graphic of his tested plant, like his numbers or whatever with terpenes and cannabinoids and stuff. Um, But yeah, I was thinking, all right, we'll be able to document both like my little ass grow compared to yours, and like what like show people that they can grow it, but it can be as crazy setup as you want to like as basic as you want, and you'll end up with I think relatively the same flower, right? Like it doesn't have to be a crazy ass like grow system or
No, I
like
don't think so.
and
I think it's.
even with like with like bonsai bakery, right? Like
Hmm.
they just do bonsai stuff. I mean, I think they both I think they grow their own. But doing the bonsai with other people, I think is helping too, right? Like to push that envelope of like, destigmatizing the plant through art, right? Like it's like you see, it's like it's one thing to talk about it, buy it, and like smoke and consume it, but like when you have a living fucking plant and
Yeah, it's a whole
see
different
what it's
aspect.
doing, yeah, like depending, it's a fucking living being. So you're like, I wonder what'll happen if I do this to this shit. And that's that's I think how I ended up with like the bonsai was, um, I think I always had the Mr. Miyagi like vision in my head to like have
Hmm.
like a row of bonsai, like just fucking and just be there like using
Smoking a
shit.
J and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So for the last two grows, last two, three grows, I've grown a big version and a small version. So that's what these are, which they'll probably end up going back. But they're not as bushy now because I trimmed them, or I kind of went in there and like did a little defoliation because I don't have a huge space.
Hmm.
So like it's like a closet. So like I need a lot of airflow because
Yeah, you get.
that's what fucked me up the last time. The last time that same girl that I was talking about with Johnny, we like life was lifing at that time for
Hmm.
me. And so I was just like, shit, I was not paying attention to the plants. They're all fucked. They're like right now, they're sitting in a tote over there, like in embarrassment. Like I haven't smoked any of it. I was just like, yeah, I just didn't take care of them. Because so you know those two processes I was telling you about, the veg and the
In the
flowering?
flower, yeah.
Yeah, that shit's not over after that. Then you gotta
And I
harvest,
got harvested, yeah.
you gotta dry it, and then you gotta cure it. And unless you have this little machine that Johnny has, which I see a lot of growers have, it's it's called like it's a curing refrigerator basically. So like you just put it in there and it speeds up the process. So like in curing it, because you can cure a plant for 5 days, you don't have to cure it at all. Just put that shit in a jar with like there
The
are these
little, the
humidity
humid
packs.
pack,
Yeah,
yeah.
so like in my jars, I think I have one here.
Yeah, like this one right here, sir.
Yeah.
Uh,
The Bovito ones are pretty good. Yeah, they come in a lot of flour now. At least in like the eighths, in the eighth pack. Yeah, eighths. Anyways, um, so that shit like it basically cures what you would have done in 2 weeks to a month in
mhm.
like 10 days. So all you do is put that shit in there, and let it do its thing. So I'm
So,
saving up for that. But in the meantime, you basically, yeah, you cut it down, you gotta put them upside down like fucking chickens, and you leave them dry in darkness at like 50 degrees or something. And that's for like 10 days, 12 days. Then you go in and take off leaves and see if it's dry enough to cut and then put into jars. And that's when you start curing it. At least for me. And I could be totally wrong, but this is just what I've done in the last couple grows and what I've seen online. But everybody does their shit different, right? So,
yeah,
um,
I think that's
but
good.
yeah, and I like I said, I had like right now I have some Skywalker OG left. I have um, and this is from 2 grows ago. The new one, like I said, is in a tote over there that I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. I might just make like bombs or something. Like I'm gonna get it tested, but I know it wasn't gonna be like good. So not too proud of. But these plants, I took care of them. Like I was like, I'm so happy that they're like you can tell when they're not getting nutrients when the stems and the leaves start turning purple. Like like this shit. Like when like this part and this part, like
Mhm.
these start turning purple, it's either because it's really cold and the genetics for whatever reason does that, or it's not getting food. So like this is the first time that I've gotten this far and the shit's still green. Like
That's what's up.
all my other grows they've been purple by now because
Yeah,
I didn't bump up the food or something. I don't know, but
I feel, I feel like when it comes to this, like growing wise, maybe again, I think it's just like everybody's different.
yeah.
Um, but I think like just growing wise, I think it's more like a trial and error, but like you get to see your improvements,
Oh,
you know,
100%.
like so like I think that's what's like the beauty of growing. And another thing of it is also is like how you just mentioned, like everyone has their own way of growing. So like I don't think there's a right or wrong way,
Nope.
but it's just I guess the way that people kind of like
how they can grow it or what they
Yeah,
need to do, right? Because some
or
people might
just
not be able to do like, like I would say soil would probably be the easiest only. So the reason why I was in cocoa is because my wife didn't want bugs in the house. And
mm.
so I was like, damn, I gotta I gotta figure this out. Am I gonna do
So
hydro like
is
buckets with
there
water?
is there a difference from like living soil to the what you call it, coconut
Cocoa coir.
or yeah, to the cocoa thing? Like, is there a difference like on like the smell or like the outcome of the bud or like the
So
have you seen any like major like I
so
guess
I so like true between true organic like soil, living soil, um, you know, everybody I think has their own interpretation of what smells good. So for me, it's kind of like, does the weed like can you smell it? Like can you like smell the flavors in it, like all the different terps, like whatever notes you're getting, like can you smell that? Like does it smell fresh?
hmm
Um, does it fucking choke me out? Sunflower, it can be super dry and it'll choke you out or taste like hay. You know what I mean? Um, and I think if I was like the younger me, probably wouldn't have noticed. Like, I think it's because I've been smoking for so long that I'm only now starting to see those differences. Like when I first started dabbing, I was like, why have I not been doing this shit for, you know what I mean? But
hmm
cost is also a factor. Flour is cheaper. Fucking I smoke bowls. So it's like for me, I don't, I like bowls, but at the same time, like I get stuck with flour because flour is like you get the most exact effect of what that plant should be is the flour version, right? So if you do an edible that's like that strain or a concentrate of that strain, it's not like you're not getting the full experience of what the flour is, aside with like hash. But like even like hash for me is like I still feel very like like I don't want to say like in the couch or stuck, but it's more so the effects are more tolerable. Like I don't like if it's something that's like more like mind like thought inducing, so that I don't like freak out. I'm not dabbing a whole lot or smoking a lot. I'm like I don't know if it's just my endocannabinoid system that's like super sensitive, but my tolerance is like low, which works for me. Like, I don't end up spending a shit ton of money on on concentrates.
That's what's up, man. Hey, I
Or you
rather
go to
have a low.
Michigan, or you go to
I
Michigan and you
love
buy
Michigan. A shit
like
ton of fucking bud
dude,
for fucking love
it's like
Michigan, man.
half the price. It's like or a third of the price.
See, but
Crazy.
that's another thing though. Like I feel like now a lot of people are catching on that, because like um even with my girl, like she kind of has been going like on her feed and like she kind of just sees how like on Facebook a lot like people are like just like posts, going to Michigan and shit, and like she just sees a lot of people that she knows now are starting to go to Michigan and stuff. So it's like like we I guess people are now catching on that Michigan is like not that far. Price
Hmm.
is very reasonable. You can get a lot of shit for like a reasonable amount of for a reasonable price. So it's
Yeah.
like you could get in. It's like it's a whole different world to like that. And
Dude,
although like I've gone to Michigan like 5 times, like it still amazes me how it is out there. Because here it's like still low key, although it's legal. Like
yeah.
and and
It's
and the
still, what's funny is so here, and I didn't feel this way in Michigan, and I definitely didn't feel this in California. But when you go to a dispensary, when you walk into it
mhm,
in 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 Illinois, I still feel like weird here, but it's because of the way the state makes it where it's like everything has to be hidden. Like don't like it's legal or it's not legal. It's regulated, but we just don't want to see it in public. Did you know what I mean? Like you like it's all right, like, yeah, let's take shots, let's fucking drink beers, like we're out in public, fuck yeah, let's do it. But
Mhm.
I light up a joint and people start freaking out. Like
Holy
it's like, oh
shit,
my God,
someone's
like
smoking a
somebody's smoking. Like, like,
joint.
no, dude,
Yeah.
just pass that shit. Like, it's okay.
John, someone's smoking a
Or don't even like I don't really share joints. And sometimes I do kind of like get germaphobe in that respect, but I usually have extra joints on me. So I usually share. I'm usually out here like passing out joints. But you know what I mean?
No,
It's
yeah, most
like,
definitely,
damn, it's a
man.
shocker. It's like, no, dude, like you just took like fucking 5 shots at this tailgate. Like, the fuck are you talking about?
No,
Like,
most definitely.
like
I
I'm
feel
the
you on that.
degenerate.
Like I feel you on that though. Like and I don't know if it's just again, I don't know if it's just me, but like the bartender experience out here compared to like Michigan is way different. I feel like kind of these bartenders, not to be a hater on them or anything, but I just feel like they kind of don't know a lot of what they're kind of saying sometimes. Like
Mhm.
for example, like for like the social equity brands, I feel like that could be like something that these people should know off the bat, you know? Like
And I think part of it is just maybe because they're not supposed to have them in medical shops, you
mhm.
know. But this was a rec shop. It was a recreational shop. So
This guy.
it's like, how the fuck do you not know?
It'll be
So
funnier, like if they do, but they don't realize it's a social equity
that's what
brand.
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's like, well, we don't have any social equity brands. And it's like,
Who has
all
this
right.
brand?
So
Hey,
you have
you'll be
no
like,
bloom. You have no bloom. You have like none of this stuff. I see the little surfboard right there. Like,
I see your display. You don't have this.
right, right. Is that what you need? Not like I think bartenders are I think they are knowledgeable, but for whatever reason, you know, it's like when you go to a shop in California, everything is usually like it's like fucking it's like when you go to Walmart, not Walmart, Walgreens. Like when you get to the register, there's a bunch of shit behind them. That's
Yeah.
basically how a lot of shops are. It's usually a glass case in front of you, maybe in between you, or it's like an Apple store with like islands with like the product packages in there. Um, and then
And then you got your deli flower.
yeah, and then but then there are sections where it's like you're like literally a wall full of product, like on hangers. You're just picking this shit off. And you have the nice thing is that you can sit there and like fucking read it. Like, right? Like you're not waiting to, oh, can I see it? They're like, oh, we don't have the package. Or if they do, it's like under a glass or you know what I mean? Like it's
Uh, uh,
I can't read
one,
the date it was harvested. I
uh,
can't read the terpene profiles. Like, and it's
one.
like, oh, but we have these kiosks. I'm like, yeah, but I want to see the fucking product. I want to see what touch it at least. Like, you know what I mean?
One thing I did notice recently about these shops is like, for example, like let's say you want to add something before purchasing it, but you want to see the price before you can get it.
Yeah.
It has came experience for me where they're like, we will need to take it out from the bag and scan it and all this process to see the price. And I'm like, never mind.
No,
I'm like,
no
no, let
way.
me just get my fucking shit I pre-ordered and let me go home and smoke. Let me like
Oh, dude,
it's
that
like
sucks.
and then like and then like I think about it like how you just mentioned with Michigan, like because again, Michigan again, they have it, everything behind them, and then if I want something to see the price, like they'll just go grab it and scan it real quick, or
There
like
was
they'll have
one.
it already in their kiosk, like
I will say they also, I think Michigan also has, which is weird, right? Okay. So you can, so I believe, and I don't know if they changed it since then, but they have what's called reciprocity, which some states have, some states don't. I think Hawaii does.
Hmm.
But what that is basically when you go to another state that's legal, they'll honor your medical card. But you have, so the tricky thing is when I went, it was already after the pandemic. And so they stopped. So you don't get, so before you would get a plastic card. I don't know if you've seen it. I think I have one of my old ones. Yeah, I'm gonna try to not show my digits, but here we go. So basically, you get like a little card, but this is like an old one.
Hmm. Is that
So
like your med card?
this is my med card. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Gotcha.
So you get one of those. But anyways,
So,
the reason why I say that is because um the downside is if every other state is like Michigan, which I would assume, they need to see your picture ID, like that thing. But during the pandemic, they made it so that you can just show your phone, like a picture of your license on your phone. And
mhm.
they said, all right, we don't want to waste money on the cards anymore, which makes sense. Like it's, environmentally, it's great to not have to get another plastic card or in the mail.
I
Um,
guess, and then
you know
everyone's
what I
on their
mean?
phone and shit,
Yeah.
so.
But when I went, I was like, I have my card. I have it on my phone. They're like, we need the card. And I was like, but they don't give out cards. They're not.
Don't you see I need my shit?
Yeah. I thought I was gonna be fine. I mean, I still bought shit, but whatever. I mean, and then when I saw the price, I was like, all right, it's not that bad. So, yeah, because I got like concentrates and
That would fucking suck. Like let's say like if like the city, for example, or like let's say Chicago made it like that there's no plastic cards no more and it's just a digital. But like these dispensaries are like nagging to ask you for a plastic card. How the fuck are you gonna get? How are you gonna get that?
and then what's crazy is like it would be fine if okay, how much is your license card? Your regular license card? It's like $20, right? $30 or some shit like that.
Yeah, I'm guessing something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
around those lines. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we're paying $30 for the actual card. I paid 100 and something for this fucking license. I can't get a physical card. Like I should have the option. And I don't know that maybe I should look into it. I just haven't. So you reminded me, but I want to look into seeing if I want a physical card, can I pay or can I just get a physical card? You know, but
Then
they
what
don't
if there's like an
automatically give it to you. It's like if you want it here, like we'll send it, but you got to
damn,
request it.
imagine there's like an extra fee for that
No,
shit.
I 100%. I think
Uh,
it'll start off with like for a $12 fee. Oh, we got to raise it up to 20, like whenever you lose your card. And for me, that shit sucks. Well, not
Damn.
now. I haven't lost it now because I have an air tag on my wallet, but I always would lose my wallet like when I was younger to
Mhm.
the point where like the bank was like, bro, like I need to charge you for this debit card.
Like, I'm
They're like,
sorry, sir, but
this
I
is your
gotta
fifth,
charge it.
this is your fifth card this year.
Oh.
And I was just like, it's like, oh, but that was younger me, right? Like now I'm smarter. So I got an air tag. So I got an air tag for my
Like,
wallet.
fuck.
Yeah. And that shit tells
The
every time I get up, ooh, you left your wallet. Oh shit, where?
Damn, that's crazy though. Oh, that's wild.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
They
I
don't
just
make it
really,
easy. I
I
really do hope
really,
they do. They make it so that you can anybody who has a medical card can use it at a recreational shop. Because there are brands too that like it's like like chocolat like from like Herbal Notes, right? Like they have this chocolate that I've been wanting to try.
Mhm.
And so but like none of the medical stores have it, at least the ones that I know. And if I go there, like I don't know, do I get the discount? I
Is
want to
this
say I think they do, or I don't know if it
is
hasn't
this choc
voted.
is this chocolate like in majority of dispensaries or
Is it what?
Is his chocolate like in majority of dispensaries or not
I don't know
really?
which dispensaries. I think it's in the, but I'm sure it's in recreational dispensaries, like in the city.
Gotcha.
But yeah, because it's not like, well, that's another thing too. It's not like they can super advertise on Instagram. Like, you know, most accounts are like flagged or, you know, their reach doesn't get out there. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't understand the whole guidelines to these uh
Dude, yeah, you
to
see
this shit
from account
because
to account, it just depends. Like it's like one they get either, I don't know if it's because they're grandfathered in or what. Maybe it's my name. I will say when I put Juanamama on X, it said I couldn't use the name. And I don't know if it's because the Juana part of it, but
that'll be dumb.
yeah, I don't know, but I had to appeal it. Um, and then I think what TikTok did the same thing.
See, but then I mean, like, I, I,
But
wh-
anyways, it's crazy.
I mean,
Or
TikTok's gonna get
pocket.
banned. I mean, like in like 6 days.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's
Oh,
whatever. But like, I don't know. I mean, like, it's just I guess with this like fact checking. Um, that these like the Instagram, Facebook, and like X is doing and shit like that. But like I don't know, like
old Zuckerberg, Zucky boy flipped the script out of nowhere. Like he's like,
yeah,
yo, we gotta change things here, but we're not really gonna change things. So we're not gonna check anything. So it's all good. Just say whatever
yeah.
you want. No worries.
I feel like it's like the wording. Like I feel like you just gotta take a lot of time on the wording, which kind of sucks ass because like I feel like not everyone has the time to figure out what
Make up
word
a whole
can go
language.
like yeah, like what word can slide through and what word doesn't
Yeah,
slide
that's
through.
literally what my what my profile goes through. I'll post some shit and I'm like, dope, like it's doing good. And then when some posts like they'll keep going like reach, and sometimes it's like I'll have 100 views on something, and then Instagram's like, we can't recommend your profile or your content or
To
whatever.
non-followers.
Yeah, yeah, to
I hate that
non-followers.
shit.
And
I hate
so I
that.
had to,
Yeah.
I used to delete the stuff, but now I didn't realize that you can just archive it. Well, I thought if you archived it, they still considered it on your profile. And
Mhm.
so when I'll archive it and save it so that when they do, let's say for whatever reason they do allow it or allow the language or whatever images, then I could just put them back. So like right now, I every day I have to check if it's green checks or not. It just makes sure. I gotta make like I got orange check or orange X trauma uh fucking going and seeing like
But like, you don't
what
think
do I
like
got or
that's
what do I got? Sometimes it'll tell me, oh, it's this post, take it down. And then, and honestly, one time I was talking shit. So you can shake the little page and send a message. I was
Mhm.
like, dude, Zuck just told us the guidelines are this. And so I put a screenshot of like the guidelines, and it's like supposedly like the way it reads is cannabis content that's positive will just not be shown to people 18 and over or some shit like that.
And also like you can't like sell it
You
or
can't
something. Like you
sell it,
can't
right? But like
yeah.
if like me interviewing the fucking plant, right? Like that got flagged. And and it's like it was fucking blurred out. You know what I
The
mean?
fucker. The plant
So
freedom of speech.
yeah, but here's the thing. I also don't know if like because I had so sometimes some videos I do straight on the phone and some videos I do on Premiere. And so like with that one, since I did it on Premiere, the copy was like I think I don't know if it may have been the runt's name because like on one of the screens it says the plant's name, goat runts or whatever. And I think that might have flagged it. I don't know. The fucking my cilantro video, that shit's weed in the jar. Like it's, but I made it look like it was the cilantro that I had put in the jar. It's like a, it's like how to infuse olive oil with like flour with like THC or whatever. And so, um, there's one point where it changes. It's not like because you're looking at the little platter of cilantro,
Mhm.
but once it gets into the jar, it's actually like that's actually weed. But that
Gotcha.
is okay. But maybe because it couldn't tell that it was weed in the jar.
Probably,
But
but I'm not. I don't know, man. It's just like
it's crazy.
I think like social media with cannabis, it just makes it a hassle on a lot of people. Because
Hmm.
like, because once you lose your page, it's like fuck, you gotta restart all over again, and it's a bitch, you know? Because like,
I've
what
only
took
had that
you
happen to
long?
me once, and I've never had more than the followers that we have now. I want to say the first time we got taken down or deleted was we were like 600 followers or some shit. And then when I started up again, um uh I was just like I think I ended up where I don't know where I'm at. Like it's like 1,800 followers or whatever. And but I guess in reality, like, is there really like let's say an account has like 30,000 followers, right? Like
Hmm.
not 30,000 people that are going to be buying stuff. So
But then again, as well as like, how many of those 30,000 are real? You know, like.
yeah, I mean, I mean, as real as I'm sure they're real. Um, yeah, I don't know if they, if whatever third party is like fixed, but like using like bots or something. I guess maybe
Yeah.
not. So, because sometimes I'll get bots in like in my in like following me and shit. It's like
Uh,
profile picture, and I'm like, I know this is
yeah, like you can, yeah, it's on some pages you can most definitely tell it's a bot, but like
yeah.
I don't know, like if you really think about it, like how much then does one need to get that amount of following reviews then?
Hmm.
Like if you really think about it, like like for example, like let's say this for a cannabis brand, like sure, maybe like if the brand has been long enough that people, know it already, like for example, like I guess cookies, I mean, so it's kind of like in the stores for a clothing brand, like bags and stuff.
It
But then
already has
again,
following.
yeah, and then like
Yeah.
they got, I don't know, like just by knowing about Canada, like I think majority of people would just know cookies off the bat, like
I mean,
I don't. I'm not too sure. It's just like I feel like it's just like a popular brand that you know.
yeah, like it was it they did really good of like branding it. Um, I haven't really bought a lot of their flour. Um, but
I've actually gotten some of
at
their
least not here.
concentrates. Um, I got in their concentrates here. Off the one of the Revolution dispensaries.
Hmm.
Pretty okay. I got the uh cereal de la mode, and
Mm,
then I think it was what's it, bohemian butter. It was pretty okay. I mean, it was a little thick and creamy, but like I mean, for one, I guess for to say that I got in like a good terp concentrate here in
hmm,
Illinois. I don't think I came across one. Like I
hmm.
came across dabs where like they got the taste. The taste is there, but I don't think it's
Yeah.
like that strong.
Or it goes away quick.
Yeah, and then
And
at
I
the end,
wouldn't
it's like
mind it. I wouldn't honestly, I wouldn't mind that if it was priced like accordingly, right? So like that's fine if like that jar was like half the price or something. Because the idea is that like the time I'm looking for this much, it should be around this much time, assuming, right? So if I go and now I bought like 4 or 5 of those jars, and now for those 4 or 5 times I paid the same price. But this last time it's not the same. It's like instead of 2 hours, that shit's only working for 1 hour, but I'm still paying the same price. You know what I mean? So it's like, at what point can they just be like, all right? Because I feel like that's when it's not consistent, or that's when you start losing people because it's like, well, at least that's when I start switching brands, right? When I'm like, this I know what this feels like. Like I've had it plenty of times, but for whatever reason, it's just not hitting the way it used to. But it's not because it's like I'm like my tolerance is like I'm super tolerant of it, maybe, but you know, I think for me, I'd know like, okay, like I'm not getting my money's worth. So
Yeah,
maybe time to switch a different brand. And maybe it is like my body getting accustomed to it or whatever. But in a couple times, I don't think it should be that different.
I don't know. Like for example, I mean, like for this time, like I got alchemy,
Hmm.
um, and like I don't know, like just the design of the case itself, like it's pretty decent. I fuck with the case, like the design, but like
Yeah, like an
but like
apothecary design.
yeah, but like when we get to like the product itself, like
Yeah.
it's I'm almost done with it, but like
Hmm.
you know, like it's always I feel like the concentrates here are always somewhat dark. Like I don't think you see any type of like clear or like
The light,
light.
I don't think I've
Yeah.
seen, so I usually go with batter. And so like with me, like I said, like that Arise brand, like they have a pretty decent um consistency like for the batter itself. I mean, all things considered, right? Because once it's sitting in the dispensary, like, it's different from when it's like when they're housing it because they have it at a certain temperature or in like a climate controlled place. But once it goes to dispensary, it could be in an environment where, you know, it's fighting an uphill battle. So maybe over time that hasn't been sold or hasn't been priced appropriately, so it's not moving the way it should move, then it's been sitting there for a while.
You think you think these dabs are like placed in the refrigerator? Like
I
you
think,
think like these like in Illinois, or you think they're like sitting in the shelves?
oh no, I think they're sitting on shelves. I don't think these are sitting in a, like,
And
it wouldn't be a freezer just because then that would maybe cause like
no, I'm not
condensation.
saying a freezer, but I'm saying because like
Cool, like a
yeah,
regular, like
because
an
like
environment, like it would almost have to be like a walk-in closet that's like not cold, like
because like again like going back to like Michigan, like when I again like this dispensary like they would have to go to like a little I guess mini fridge or whatever to take out like the gram of
mm,
wax and stuff. Like I just wonder like now like you think that's like do here in Illinois do they have that's how they store it or like do you think they just have it out there like
I don't know. I mean, I would assume unless the vendor or like unless the brand provided that type of like refrigeration,
mm,
like, and would they allow for that, like taking up that space? You know what I mean? Like it's almost like if I don't know, I don't know if every dispensary has it on shelves because I've never worked at a dispensary, but I think it could go either way, to be honest. I don't know that it's something like it'd be different if the state mandated that concentrates be in a in
that's
a
true.
properly, because then you would know that it has to be like which would make sense. It's not like I don't think it's anything crazy other than a very well air conditioned room that has like a very steady like
Room
humidity,
temp.
yeah, temperature and humidity, like
Yeah.
like almost like and like dry and cold, like not like cool, like 60, 65.
Yeah, well, who knows? Because at the end of the day, like all we see is like the little window, and
Yeah,
it's just
all we see
there.
is the one person behind the wall in the little window giving it to the person that's brings it to you and puts it in a, oh no, they put it in a plastic bin and then they bring it to you.
which is like unnecessary, but I guess
But yeah, like put this in this little thing and then this thing and
it's
this
just
other.
for the experience.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It's not like they're bottle service, right? They're not bringing a bottle of champagne on a tray.
Yeah, right. It's not always the little birthday sign and
I
but
have sparklers,
right.
a little
But
sign with the name, happy birthday or happy eighth.
enjoy this eighth on your way
Yeah,
home.
enjoy. Or it's like your 10th purchase this week.
I saw you literally like 3 hours
Yeah.
ago. What are you doing here?
Again? Yeah, dude, again.
I should might as well get a job. The guy can get the samples, the freebies.
Yeah.
No, man.
Like when you go to events too, that's another thing. And I was talking to Johnny with like I want to do a couple different events, but they're gonna be based on like art shows and like portfolio critiques. Because that's what I do. I'm a designer, so
So,
it'd be
so
interesting to like go to a consumption friendly like like let's say you get like a group of people to design a package and it's just you're live critiquing it with like people that would essentially buy this shit like consumers. It's like an open fucking like an open style portfolio like project critique or something like that. But anyways, like having those
so
events, sometimes like if there's vendors, I think people are just looking for free shit.
mm,
Unless you tell them like you got to buy, there's stuff to buy, you know, because that other than getting some of like sometimes you'll get like brands that are giving stuff away. So
but like if you really think about it, it's more like apparel or like like keychains or pins or something like that,
that's what we would have at our tables because I wasn't, I don't sell any of it. Any of my stuff is just for me.
Hmm.
And like the sodas themselves that I make for like I would still need to make these plants into hash and then bottle it up. It's just a whole fucking process, right? And it's like I already have a full-time job, and so I got to do this, but I'm still learning this. I also don't want to put out like product that's not good.
Yeah, most
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So, but like I was like, all right, this year I'm gonna go to more events and I want to meet more people, whether I sell a hat or not. And I was like, okay, I need to get a table, but I don't know what I'll have at a table that won't get like because I've been like in LA, I would go to like, you know, trap events and like shit would get raided. And so
Hmm.
I'd be like, I don't want to be and have a whole ass table and fucking had to run away. And
I mean, like it has happened here though. I
so,
mean,
you know what I mean? So I was like, you know what?
yeah.
Maybe I'll do something that's like ancillary and like for now, just to meet more people, to get the name out a little bit more, because the Instagram's not helping me. And so I was like, you know what? Like, and I want to meet more people, like, in the community and stuff. And so I got a table and went to a couple different events and I was like, you know what? I always in my head, like if I were in my dream company, right?
Hmm.
Like the uniform would be like hats that have terpenes on them. And that's where I ended up designing the terpene series of hemp fabric snapbacks. And I don't have one now. Actually, I think I do. But um that's what I took to these events. But then I started realizing like even out of that, like maybe I'd get like one follow or talk to like two or three people because they're like, so what do you have? And I'm like, I got hats. And so
You
And
can look
so
cool while smoking.
yeah. So it's like you want to talk about weed? Like,
Right.
yeah, so it's like I kind of like I pulled back on the events, but I figured what if I did an event specifically for like art shit and have like these plants I'm also growing because I'm a photograph them. And so there have been a couple of times where I posted some of the pictures that I've taken of my plants to make them look like, like those vintage lifestyle paintings
Mhm.
where they have like just flowers on a table.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like the most basic shit. So I was just thinking, I was like, what if I styled the plants that way and took photographs of them and and have two different events. One event during this phase, during the vegetation phase. So I would take like three or four plants and have like a backdrop of all their photos, like their photo shoot. But you could have the plant there, touch it, feel it, smell it, or whatever. And then if you wanted to, at those shows or those art shows, I would I would sacrifice one plant and have people make clones. So kind of like the bonsai dude, but a little bit like more gritty in the sense that like you'll legit be able to like you'll see the photos I took of the plant or this plant or whatever, and you can cut this part off, or you can look at what part looks that you like and cut that and clone it and take it home with your photo or painting or some shit.
Gotcha.
But that's an event.
With
That's I don't know when I'm gonna do that, but that's what I do with these plants too, other than smoking them too.
But hey, man, you gotta start somewhere though, right? I mean,
Yeah, like
you
just even
gotta
getting
spark
out,
the
like it
idea.
helps. I mean,
Yeah.
getting out is what got me to meet like, like Carlos and Johnny and all these different cats doing their thing. So, you know.
So then like with collab with like Mojo with the 420 Mojo's 420
Mhm.
um so then it's pretty much like what you were saying earlier, then pretty much kind of
Yeah.
like
Oh,
growing
yeah, yeah.
together.
That one's it's called Chronically Growing. And so basically it's like a YouTube series that we intended to show both of us growing the same type of plant, but in different ways, which was working, but I think I would need like this girl I've been documenting myself and he sent me a couple of videos of his and I think I have more footage like to do maybe 20 to 30 minutes, like a video, like a
Mhm.
summary, like showing the grow itself, like my grow and his grow. The perfect thing would be like having the video split in half, where it shows my plants and his plants and like at different points of the grow. So the last time we were trying to do it like where every week I would go to his pad, take pictures of his plants, then I'd have come home, take pictures and videos of my plants, and then kind of like I'd have to record him, ask him, all right, so what happened this week? Like anything happened with the plants, like, anything crazy or whatever. Um, you know, one time his thing um was like super stressed out, or I got mold issues one time the last time because I didn't have a fan. It was like super small, so it was
Mhm.
like it just created an environment that allowed it to get powdery mildew or whatever. So
Oh,
that's
that
the little
sucks.
tote that I was telling you. I was like the
Ah, that's that
the
one, huh?
that those flowers are that grow the last one. And so yeah, this one I'm really excited about. So that's another thing too, is like we were also he got his shit tested, and so I was gonna get my shit tested too, and we were gonna compare the the all the percentages of like terpenes and cannabinoids and stuff. So I never tested that shit because I know it's not gonna be good. And maybe I'll still go test it, um but yeah, I think for this next one, we're gonna do it again. I want to buy some seeds that I've been wanting to buy from uh this one like veteran dude, like
Mhm.
old white guy, hippie guy from like Northern California. He grows fucking fire. And so I was like, oh, I'm gonna buy his seeds because he finally got his seeds on a website. So I want to buy his seeds. And then I also want to buy um there's this dude Todd McCormick. He's like a super OG, like um and he has these like the purest indica like seeds or whatever or plants. And so I want to grow some of his plants. So I'm gonna buy the seeds and I'm gonna give Johnny those same seeds and I want us to grow those. And then after we're done growing, I wanted to do the art show with those plants. And then when we're done, do the second event, which is where we'll have like, you could try the flower. Like
Mm,
shit, that everything that you see in the video, like
hmm.
now you get to try it. So
Gotcha.
yeah. So I'm
So you
gonna
got like,
so I gotta do the video for that. And then start thinking about where to have maybe it's one show, maybe like I've already kind of figured out a couple of different spots where it seems like they want to rent out their space for like events and
mm,
stuff. And so, I want to see what those rates are, like, if it would be a weekend thing, like a multi-day thing, or like, if I do it at a gallery or whatever. Um, but I
who are you gonna? Was there would there be like consumption
yeah.
allowance
So the
for these?
so in both at both, but it would probably just have to be. My guess is there are certain spots that are cool with it, but I would assume like whichever. Because if I go to different places, maybe some places might not want like joint smoke or
Mm,
bongs, but they're okay with vapor. So like with like puffcos and concentrates and shit, which he has his little Stundin glass thing, or we can just I don't know. But the goal would be to have something that's consumption based. What would be really be dope is if they allow for you to do like these licenses, these per day licenses, where you can have a consumption lounge. Let's say you could rent out a restaurant or some shit. You can apply like for just to have a consumption event like that day or this time. It's like doing a block party permit or some shit. So that
I
like
could see
you're
that.
so that you're covered. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that's the last thing. That's like the one bummer thing. Or like you got to
but
kind of creep
I
out of
feel
these
like
events. Like, all right, there's no cops nowhere. Like, make
I bet
sure.
that that's the thing though. Like I feel like at this point, like a perfect world situation. Like
Yeah.
because the sad reality to it is like, are we gonna get there? And the thing is, is it gonna even get there in our lifetime?
Hmm.
But the
But just
main
do it.
question, but the main question is like, is it gonna get there?
Yeah.
Because like
In our
going back to like the,
lifetimes, I think so.
you think so?
I think so. I mean, you think about it. It's a numbers game, right? Like there's like I don't know how many, I want to say between 20 and 30 of the states have some type of cannabis legalization or regulation, whether it's medical
Hmm.
or medical and recreational, there's some form of it in 30 states. And every year there's like three or four states that vote on it. So it's only a matter of like what if there's like 20 states left, that's like what, let's say 3 4 a year. I don't know, 18 6 maybe in 6 years, 10 years. That's if 3 to 4 states legalize every year.
Every year.
Has to be three to four. And then that'll end up being the whole fucking United States. So if everybody's legal, then everybody should be legal.
I feel like if if it's everywhere, well, one, let's say if every state is legalizing it, I still feel like the government or whatever is gonna fight for it to not be federally legal.
Yeah, it's who knows what it is, man. So it's like that's like one of those like when you
That
watch Mr. Robot, like that one have you watched that show, Mr. Robot?
no, but I know who you talk what the show you're
So like
talking about though.
they have this scene, it's like the 1% or whatever. It's like just these dudes like all controlling the world or some shit. So it's like, um, you know,
But that could be a real thing, though, if you really think about it,
yeah,
though.
it could be.
You know,
It could be. It's like nobody just thought of that. Like that could very well be the case.
like you heard of was it Black Rock or Blackstone? I think it's
Oh yeah,
Black.
I heard of that.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I think
heard
like
of that.
State Street.
Yeah,
Like I think
yeah.
those are like some patties. I think like it, get like to like theory wise, conspiracy theory wise. I think like those have been kind of been who've been running this country
Oh
like the
man.
past 4 years. Not Joe Biden, but
It's just
you
crazy. It's just crazy
know.
the shit that happens throughout. Like when you as soon as you turn on any news or be on TikTok or Instagram, you're like, that shit just really just happened like here or in like whatever. Like it's just nuts. Like how the fuck did that shit happen? And it could be anything and everything. There's always one story there's at least one or two stories a day where I'm just like, damn, what the fuck is happening?
I mean, I don't know, man.
And then when you watch show and then you watch shows, like at least for
Yeah.
me, I watch like these suspense shows and you're like, damn, gets in your head, you're like, could that be real? Like, you know what I mean? I don't
I
know.
mean,
That kind of sounds like it could happen.
what has like been, I guess, like a thought like that made you think like is that could happen?
What was it was a Netflix show, where it was like these different groups, of like Nazi groups and then they're super extreme liberal groups. Hold on. It's I'll tell you the show right now.
The FBI is
It is a new one. It was with this guy from one of the I think Fear the Walking Dead. His name. Hold on.
the United States
Where he
Premier
gets framed for like
Enforcement
killing
Agency.
somebody.
Ma'am.
I don't know. I can't find it. But that was probably one of the shows that was like that got me thinking like, oh damn, like something like this could be happening.
You familiar with it? I was watching Squid Games. You see Squid Games before?
Saw the second season. It kind of the ending was like weird to me. I don't know. It just was like I
I
guess
didn't like how I
it
didn't
is
like
what it
how like
is.
I, I just didn't like how it ended like in like mid of the games.
Yeah, it's like
Like
nobody won. They're still there.
yeah,
So it kind
kind
of
of
just
sucks.
like
But like if you really think about it, like could that be one of those things? Like
I think
sometimes I think
the metaphor of that is just like, at least for me, it was like the shit's the way it is. Like this shit's not gonna change. You know what I mean? Like, because the game's still gonna be played,
Mhm.
people are still gonna be willing to do shit, and it's like, so what I do all this fighting for, kind of thing.
I mean like all those people,
it's like an existential crisis.
but yeah, but like I mean like all those people are in serious debt. Like
And
fuck,
they're all
like.
willing. They're all well, I guess they're not all willing to die until they know that they have to be willing to die,
I
right? Because
Yeah,
like
yeah, because
so
like in a
when they first die, they don't want to die. But after the second or third game, the people
mm,
that keep going, you know, they know like you got to think about it, right? Like if I lose, I'm dead. It's not because I'm gonna go home
Hmm.
because I'm about to die. So it's
I don't
interesting.
know.
It's like, you
Like,
know,
what games would you think would be for like our culture?
um, you mean like if it was a show like that, but
Like let's say like the same thing, but like let's say it's just our culture. Like what games do you think would we would have to play?
oh, so like let's say they okay. Mm,
I know they're gonna do a US one, but like let's say for like the Mexican like or Latino like are you Mexican or no?
so no, my
Okay,
parents are from Guatemala.
gotcha. Okay, so like for a Latino like in
Yeah.
general like
I'm trying to get away from a tequila drinking, like a shot.
oh hell no.
I'm trying to get away from that. I'm gonna say
Play like loteria. I don't
I
know.
was gonna say like Uno or left, right, center. Um, or yeah, Loteria. But I feel like Loteria is
Oh, you think what about tag? Let's say tag. What about tag?
tag is
You think
one.
you think that would be an interesting one?
I think that'd be interesting. Yeah, because then it's like if you think because it's not just young people playing the game, right? 'Cause it's older people too.
Yeah, I mean, well, technically, it's like a childhood game. So of course, you've gone through your childhood at this point
Yeah.
already. So it's like hide and go seek. I think that would be another good one.
Well, you wouldn't think hide and seek and tag are the same?
Uh,
Are they?
I uh
No. Oh, no,
no.
because you're running away.
Well,
It's
well,
also
well,
hiding.
both technically, both are in both games you are, but yeah, one is your hide. Well, technically, you both are too. You're both hiding because you don't want to get tagged.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless you switch the tag to like freeze tag.
Yeah.
And there you go. There's like you got the like I don't know, you got like a few seconds or a minute or whatever to get on frozen before you get
Yeah.
killed or
Yeah.
some shit. Like I don't like that. There you go. I think that would be a little better one.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, that would replace maybe the little running game. Or maybe in addition to the like where they run the red light, green light, or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. I think that was like a general game. Like I think
Yeah,
anyone
yeah.
could play that game, but like it's pretty fucked up though. Like to think about it, like
And it's like he was telling him too. He's like, come on. Oh, well, spoiler alert.
but
We should
yeah,
have said spoiler alert a while ago, but
I, it's all
for
good,
season two
man.
at least.
No, I mean it could also go towards season one, but like,
Yeah.
I'm not, I don't know, but like it's a little wild. It's really wild, man. But one thing I did wanted to talk with you, man, was like, do you know anyone? Because we were talking about art and stuff, and like you actually
Mhm.
wanted to do an event that got to do with art, but like, do you have like a favorite art piece?
Um, I mean, favorite art piece is it's kind of like asking like your favorite movie, right? Like for me, I think there's different genres, right? So
Yeah,
like me, piece wise, so I as a design like I as a designer, I always like looked at Obey and Shepard Fairey and like the hundreds. Like that's kind of what I grew up with as a designer, like for me. So I like anything Shepard Fairey pretty much came out with. Um, he kind of just created a different style of doing, you know, propaganda art, basically, or like guerrilla style propaganda art. And not to say that graffiti or tagging like he is that's or writing, that's not like an art, but I think the like developing a different style that's quote unquote um like fine art, but still have a very strong political message was crazy. And then you can't bet against like the way that the style that he created was like, duplicated, but like you still see like when him and then subsequently the people that have worked for him, like Ernesto Llerena, I think is his name, and then this other dude Never Made, they worked at his studio. So you see his influence on them as artists, which is crazy because like they're both also like political. Never Made is still kind of commercial in a lot of ways, I think, but the Ernesto dude, he does like full on like political stuff. Other than like I know he does stuff for like when the Dodgers are like, when they win when they won he did a poster for that, which I bought. But
Mhm.
um and then that's like one of my newer, more modern like artists or designers that I like. Um Old school, like old school, like legit fucking like back in the day, like um Alphonse Mucha. Um he was part of like an art new he was an art nouveau artist. And if you look at his shit, it looks like it could have been done like on a computer.
I'm sorry. Who was this artist or
Alphonse, it's a Alphonse,
LCH?
and then his last name is Mucha.
Hold on. Mucha.
Yeah,
Okay.
so Alphonse Mucha.
Hold on.
But this
Let
dude like
me
painted all this shit.
give me 1 second. Uh, oh, there you go. No.
You'll probably see like one image where there's this like chick that's smoking, and there's like I think there's like a name, it's like Job. It looks like Job, but it's actually pronounced Job. It's like an old magazine. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's one of my favorite.
Which one
I
again? This one?
Yeah. So all that is all him. Like that style he created, but it looks like
Okay.
what somebody would be able to do on. Yeah. Like it looks like line art that you would do on a computer, but this dude fucking painted this shit because this is like a long ass time, hundreds of years ago.
Okay.
And he's like, and there's detail like in between each gap, like where color should be. There's like more detail. This is just
This,
fucking
this
clean.
looks very vintage.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, yeah,
Like it really gives me vintage vibes.
yeah.
Oh shit. Do you have another person or
The other person would
what?
be so if you look up Never Made. Oh, actually, I just thought of another one. These are more contemporary. This dude's contemporary. This is like right now. The dude's
But
alive.
wait, like this guy right now, like
Yeah, all
this.
that. Yeah,
Okay, okay.
yeah. And then who else? There's a so there's a couple tattoo artists that I had followed that were also painters. One dude
Mhm.
was Nico Hurtado. He actually came out on a tattoo, what's it, Inked, I think. He ended up being like a pretty popular judge on that show. But he had this tattoo parlor. I think it's called Black Anchor Collective or something, Black Anchor or something. But he also had some like tattoo artists that were in his shop, and I followed one of them who was called Cheeseburger Champion, I think, and he he did these like photorealistic tattoos, and so I ended up getting like a piece by him. This is like a peony. It was my wife's favorite flower. Uh,
Oh shit. I like the detail on that.
yeah, this dude was fucking.
That's
And then
dope.
my other shit was just more so like from different artists. But this dude was like, oh, man, that shit was like 8 hours, 9 hours. Shit fucking hurt. And then I had to drive to that fucker. He was like halfway from LA to Vegas. So probably like 200 miles away.
Damn.
And just to get the fucking tattoo. But I mean, I'm happy with the tattoo, but
Oh shit.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get more from like other artists that I follow, but and then as far as like there's another cat that I follow. His name's Nothing Personal, I think. And if you look him up, he's got some like this shit's it's funny. It's like it's art, but it's like shit that, is appropriated, I guess you can kind of call it.
Gotcha. Have you been to the art museum here in
No,
Chicago?
I haven't. So I've been meaning to go. Um, but I haven't gone.
How
I think
about in LA? Have you gone to the art
yeah, so I've been
museum
to
over there?
LACMA, yeah, over there, yeah. But that's
How is it? How is it out there? Like
so I mean, I would assume just the same as every other museum is, but it's sectioned off by like you would go from like Renaissance art to like modern art to like, pop art or whatever. Um, I haven't been to the Broad, which is like it's a museum that has this like big ass giant fucking chair or some shit.
mhm.
Haven't done that yet. Um, and then obviously the Getty. It just has like a lot of old shit. So I end up waiting to go to the modern section of every museum.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Um, 'Cause I was about to say something, but kind of fucking lost my train of thought. Oh, I have this all the time, man.
That shit, I like to say that I talk in tangents. So like every conversation with me, and I tell this to Johnny too, like I'm like at the end of the conversation, I'll be like, yeah, that's why I don't like chocolate peanuts. Like it's- I have these conversations, I have conversations, I'm like, I branch off to a bunch of shit. And by the end of it, I say some shit like, yeah, I don't use detergent or something stupid like
No, yeah, no, it's just fuck. No, you said a lot of things, so it's like I'm trying to like gather my thoughts and like, okay, let me say something back too. He said something, so it's like fuck. Um, Fuck, no, man. But if it, I'll probably come back to mind. But like going
yeah.
back to kind of like that sports, kind of just because I just saw realized that the Rams won. So
Yeah.
there you
I mean,
go.
they had it pretty in the bag by the second half. They were, I think, up 20 something. They're up like 21 points. But I kind of figured Sam Darnold, they were saying that like he did not look good like last week.
Uh,
So, he's a new quarterback, young quarterback, and our defense has been doing pretty good for the last couple of games. So I was like, damn, you might have a hard time. Um, so they won. Hopefully we'll move on to the next one.
yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see how it go. Um, but but yeah, man. Besides, I guess the sports and all, man. I guess how is that? I'm sure you guys have been hearing more a lot of the fires that's going on in LA and shit like
Mhm.
that. So like. How did it really start? Like, do you know? Because like I haven't really caught on to the
Well,
full story.
I was seeing that like in the Pasadena area, the
Uh-huh.
Eden fire, that one looks, they're saying that it was like so Southern Edison, which is like the electric company over there, or one of them, they have like towers up there, like in that area in the hills, and they're saying that it was because one of those towers caught on fire that ended up starting the fire on the hills, which started moving everything kind of south. With the Palisades, I don't think anybody knows how it started. I heard I heard it was somebody's backyard. I heard it was like a cigarette that got thrown somewhere. I heard certain parts, I don't know, like the Hollywood or some fires in like near Encino were started by somebody. Like that, I don't think because there are a couple different fires,
Mhm.
they don't know the original like how it happened yet. At least, and I get like I see it on. I mean, it's on the news everywhere right now, right? So
Yeah.
it's on all the news outlets, and then on Instagram, like every other post is it's like yeah, I follow the news for Chicago and for LA. So like every news outlet is literally about the fire or that's pretty much it. Oh, and Trump. And that's pretty much it. It's like, oh yeah, like like it's just these two things. Here you go. Like here's your little
I
spoon.
mean, that's pretty much what's going on right now, man.
Yeah.
I mean, well, in the beginning of the year, you started off with like somebody ramming into like people in the New Orleans.
Yeah.
So that was something hectic. And then I think you got like 2 days after. I'm not sure if you heard, but like in NYC, a nightclub, there was a shooting. I think like two or three people died in there.
Mhm.
Um, and then yeah, we're now in the fires. But
What's crazy is like there are probably way more like shootings or whatever that just aren't televised,
mhm.
right? But for whatever reason, some make the news and some don't, which is crazy. Like I don't think every shooting that's happening or that's happened is necessarily makes it to the news, but it's kind of
It,
like Instagram. Like I don't know what makes it like important enough to get put into the news, if
it's
that
funny
makes
yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because have you seen the movie called I think it's called Nightcrawler
sense.
with
Jake
the
Gyllenhaal?
dude? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Where he
like
goes
what
to
if
like where he goes to like fucking
the
murder scenes
crimes?
or whatever, crime scenes.
Yeah, like what if what? Hold on. Give me 1 second. Um, okay, never mind. Yeah, so like what if it's like really like that? Like these like every news or whatever like sees through like what people capture and
Yeah.
like what if
What
like
they think is gonna like get a lot more people interested in it.
yeah, which is kind of fucked up, but
Yeah.
like what if
Yeah. And
you
it's it's
know?
it's like I don't know. Now like, with so much shit that's happened, I'm kind of like I feel like they're breaking us down. They're like, all right, we keep doing this and showing it to them, they'll get used to it to the point it's like, what's the next worst thing that can happen? Or you know what I mean? Like it's like almost to like get you to a point where it's normalized. It's like, oh, well, that makes sense. Like, what?
Well,
Like it
well,
shouldn't make
well,
sense.
well, you don't think it's already normalized? Like, but like
Oh, hell yeah.
how much shit has been happening? You know, like you don't think like we've gotten to a point where like, yeah, it's sad and yeah, like we like what's that word like more in or like
Mourn.
yeah, like
Yeah.
you know like and stuff like that. But like just move on, man. We just keep
Yeah.
on going. You know, like I
And
don't know if that's a sad thing or not.
it's just I think it's a reality, yeah. Like it and it's with everything. It's like with, when you see a disaster, because you see the opposite. You see like like rain like hurricanes like in other parts of the country, and it's like
Mm.
that shit took out a whole fucking city. Like, okay, like it's the like,
This guy,
you know
the way he fucking said it, huh?
it's like, wow. Like, like, at some point where like, growing up, I had a constant fear of earthquakes, right? Like, and because they're always happening,
No,
but they're so small, or at least what on their scales think is small enough to not like make it known. unless it gets to a point. I don't know what the size of the earthquake has to be. But did you know that like in the last 24 hours, like, there was already 5 earthquakes in California? Like just in the last 24 hours. But nobody, you don't see it anywhere on Instagram. You don't see it on the news.
I
Um,
did I did see actually one post on Instagram talking about like an earthquake happening in LA, I think this morning or something.
yeah.
But that was it though. Like
So like I grew up thinking shit. Because and you also so you know how here they have the tornado alarm every first Tuesday, right?
we're
Like,
here?
yeah. You never heard it?
No, I don't hear it.
So
What
so
the
like so every the first Tuesday of every month there are tornado warning horn sound.
Okay. Dude,
That is so funny that
I
you've never
never
heard of.
I
All right.
never hear the fucking
All
horn, like
right.
the alarm.
So
Dude, if
so
I
when
hear it, I will text you.
I'm dead ass, like serious. So so when I first moved here, I'd never been I worked at the Sears Tower and I had to be on like the 62nd floor. And I had never been in a building that fucking tall.
Oh
Right. That
wow, okay.
I've never had to take 2 fucking elevators to my office, right?
Oh wow.
And so I was like, okay, this is cool, whatever. But in my mind, I'm thinking if the right earthquake hits, this shit's gone. But obviously,
It's good.
like, but I'm not thinking I had to get out of my mind like there are no earthquakes here, right? All I have to worry about is cold here. I'm good. Not 1 week fucking later, you hear, I heard the alarm or whatever, the horn. I was
Yeah.
like, well, what the fuck is happening? And they were like, oh, every first Tuesday of the month, there's a tornado warning or test of like some horn or some shit. And then I had to get used to fucking being up that high. I don't like the building when it's especially winter when it's windy, it sways. So like when you're up that fucking high, the shit makes noises. The shit like you could be working like fucking
No.
dude, I swear to God, like yeah,
And y'all don't think y'all never think that shit's gonna fucking just
I literally asked because you can kind of sometimes you could feel it like if you're walking down a hallway and it starts doing that shit when it's really windy, you almost miss a step. So at least I did. And so like it could
oh,
catch you like, oh shit. Um, but these are things that I'm just like, what the hell? It's fucking different. So over there, like, growing up, like in school, they had earthquake drills. So like if the school's on fire or if there's an earthquake, everybody had to get under their desks and fucking cover
tuck
their
and roll.
no, so you'd have to get under your
No,
desk
yeah, I know.
and cover your head and like crouch down and shit. And then you get evacuated and then you sit outside and you had to do that every year. It was like 2 or 3 times. Um, so I grew up thinking, I was like, damn, this is never gonna happen. And then finally, like, I don't know what grade I was in, but so if it was 1994, I was 9, 85, 85, right? 85, 94. Yeah. So I was 9 and the Northridge earthquake happened, which that one was like everybody fucking felt it. So like even though Northridge is in the valley, like it went all the way through the city to the point where like where I grew up, like the ceiling, I didn't wake up. I was knocked out. It happened in the morning, like at 3 or 4 in the morning. So
Mm.
like a piece of the ceiling fell on my bed, like on top of me.
Oh shit.
But like, you after you have a big earthquake, the rest of your life, you're like, because they talk about it all the time. They're like getting kind of hot. And whenever it's super hot, that's usually when there's like a big one, like a big earthquake. So yeah, that's why it's also kind of like during the summer when it gets super hot. And I don't know if it's like I forgot how the plates work. like the tectonic plates, but since LA is on a ridge, like or sits on one of those plates, it,
Yeah, it's very weird how
yeah.
California is.
So
See, so like I guess going since you like you grew up over there now, like you never have you like ever heard or is it common when people talk about that theory where apparently like California is just gonna like disappear by like water and shit? Like you don't think that's
oh, like could it? I think
yeah.
it. I mean, it would have you'd have to have like you mean in the future or like
Like it just in general, you don't
so,
think that could
so
happen?
theoretically, I think somewhere I saw or they talk about if there's a big enough earthquake that it could separate like I don't know if it's parts of California or the whole of California away from like the continental US. Like how long that would take, I don't know. I mean, in theory, maybe that could happen on both sides of the continent, right? Like of America, it could be that like the borders aren't like they're it's not like perforated the country so that like everything moves off, but maybe a big chunk of like California can break off or maybe the peninsula of fucking Florida can break off or some shit.
Yeah.
Maybe it's possible, but it would probably be a long ass time. Or maybe not. Maybe maybe humans will fuck up this world quicker to like for it to happen, or we are.
I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, we've been getting a lot of Uh,
Crazy shit happening. A lot of
I
crazy
don't,
shit.
well, I don't even want to call it UFOs because I don't even know if they are UFOs, but a lot of like shit up in the skies. Like, have you been
Oh,
hearing about that shit?
yeah, dude. I mean, there has to be aliens because it'd be really egotistical for us as a species to think that we're the only beings that have gotten to this point. Like
Yeah.
somewhere, I think somewhere, yeah, maybe there are other either universes or planets that are very similar to this one, and maybe they're in the same growth plan, like if evolution wise, maybe they're a little further than us. Like, yeah, I've even read those conspiracies where it's like it's us. It's like, like the interstellar situation where like the movie where um it could be humanity from here that left a while ago
Hmm.
and they're coming back. So, or, this idea that we think aliens look like the way they look like tall and skinny, but maybe because of their gravity, because it's so much lower than ours, their bones stretch out or whatever. And that's why they look like that. That's why people think they look that way, is because their bone density is a lot either lower or higher than ours. So it can easily stretch out further or some shit.
But then I guess the only other question is like, are they with us or are they like against us? Like as corny as this sounds, but like,
I guess that's going to be something we're going to have to figure out, I guess.
you don't think that we know? But like you don't think like the government and shit knows? Like you don't
I
think like
mean,
they know?
just think about humanity. Just think about us. If there are, if there's a population or a society or a species like us on another planet, you know, just think about how like some of the shit our species does to our own people, right?
Hmm.
Like kill each other. We fucking, you know what I mean? Like it's like just
Yeah,
think
like
we are pretty sure, unless it's some like super like nothing's bad ever happened. You know what I mean? Like
mhm.
it's kind of like a Columbus like Native American situation. Like they show up and we're like, oh my gosh, they're here to help us, and they fucking enslave us.
Yeah, right.
It's like
But
they look
it took us like I don't know how X amount of years to realize that Columbus
yeah.
wasn't really a good guy.
No, because they didn't tell you the truth, right? Like
No.
they gave you the version. That's what and that I thought about that too, right? Like what do I could have see why other countries look at us and think like they don't like us, like they don't like Americans or whatever. Because like you grew up, or let's say for example us, like when you think about your social studies book or your history books, there it's U.S. history, right? It's
Hmm.
not called world history. Well, I guess in some places they do call it world history, but U.S. history is given to the education system by the state, by the country, right? It's like this is the story. Like you need to know these parts of the story, not this part. Because if like, you know what I mean? Like if Native Americans have their like if like and I'm talking like Native Americans from that time, if they were to get their side in books just as much as the versions we got,
Hmm.
right? You would have a different perception of things. Because it
Yeah, but then we would not be like kind of like praising or not praising, but like I guess like celebrating this dude because we'll be knowing I guess the truth.
well, think
One.
about the was it the Western expansion, the eminent domain, right? Like cowboys and quote unquote Indians. Like these they every story that you read was like they're savages and it's like whatever. And little do we know it's like homeboys just trying to make fucking tortillas. It's like, hey man, you hungry? Like I got tortillas to help you with. Like
The homie trying to just capture
he's
dinner,
just,
you know?
but he's the fucking savage. Like he's like, oh, I'm eating this meat. This, like
Only because Buddy was wearing chanclas
yeah,
and some type of
exactly.
cloth and killing animals.
Yeah. So so it's de depending on who's telling the story, you got to think about that too. So it's like I've always thought if you start traveling, it's good to travel, but I also think like what do their history books look like? Is it just their history like in that country? Like do they talk about how the fuck do they talk about our like we don't even know what the fuck's happening with our government. Like you know what I mean? Like it's
Hmm.
I don't think everybody really knows or the two-party system is not a functional or hasn't functioned the way they wanted it to or the way they thought it would. I get stuck between that, between thinking that, right? Is the way we are the way, I guess, who would it matter, who would it need to matter to say how this civilization should be, right? Like how we should be as a country. We don't know because they're fucking dead,
Well,
right?
that's
So,
true, yeah.
and we're going off of a
But
book.
then again,
We're going
yeah,
off of like books of rules and laws that were done by people in a new place. You know what I mean? It's like they set up the rules.
yeah, but then again, it's like we're living by laws and like statements, documents, and stuff like that. That how you just said like from people who are not here no more. So like it's like
It's
who
kind of the
told
same.
us? But like it's like who told us to like continue living like that? Like what if like let's say like what if like I don't know where like someone decided to not go by like the but like I don't know. I don't want to say like the declaration the Declaration of Independence or anything, but like let's say like something major. Like what if like they decide to change that like
Mhm.
because of like how nowadays we all think, like because if you really think about it, like I know it's gonna be a different thing, but like it's just like an example of like even like for weed, like back then, everyone used to think, all these stereotypes, like
Well,
the stigmas and stuff, but like if you think about it, throughout time and shit, now we get to hear like now, majority of the people don't think of cannabis or like weed like that no more. Like we think of it like as like medicinal or like something beneficial more than like what we used to think back then. You feel me?
I think before I don't so we didn't, I don't think people always thought of it negatively because history has shown that it's been in Asia, it's been in, the different Americas, it's
Hmm.
been in the Middle East, it's been in a lot of different societies well before, you know, anybody got to the US. It was only recently that like everybody's like, oh, weed's bad. No, it's because the US decided at a certain point that it was not it was a way to legally like discriminate, right? Like it was specifically against like uh workers from Mexico and black people, like immigrants basically. And it's an easy way to be like, oh, well, this is something that either they use medicinally and they don't, I know there's countless of people that you can ask anybody. Like there's probably some family member that was doing extractions. They just didn't know they were doing extractions because they were putting the plant in alcohol because their grandma showed them to put it in alcohol because they can then use it as like a little pomade, right?
Hmm.
So that's now in your system because it goes through your skin I don't know how much it stays versus like inhaling it or whatever, but you know, ancient civilizations knew about the medicinal parts of the plant, right? Then you add the fact that the US has all these patents on cannabis. So like the US they have all these patents on the actual plant. Like if you look up US patent cannabis, the government owns these patents to it. So why would they own something?
Well, what is like these planets though?
So
Like,
like patents, I don't know if patents would be like different applications, like using it for XYZ reason or something. Um,
is that like a way like for them to tax on it?
exactly. So if let's say, so you would put a patent on anything on a design or a product so that nobody can copy it, right? So nobody
Yeah.
can say, oh, I have this thing. You're like, no, I thought about this first. This is
So like
my
kind of like trademarking it or something like that.
trademarking. A patent is just, yeah, it's a trademark basically. It's saying, I came up with this first. Like, so there's a patent for this, but usually something like this, if it's never been created or if it like, this could be one patent or it could be like one patent here, one patent here, one patent here, one patent here, and one patent here. Like all these can have application patents. So, you know, why would you have patents on something that is bad? You
Yeah,
know,
right.
it's like
True that.
you would only put a patent on something if you knew it was gonna
Make
either
me
something that needed to be protected or something that was gonna be protected and make you money. I mean, it's the reason why you protect your logo because that's your business, that's your product, right? So why why have that? And
yeah.
so it's just crazy. It's like a wildfire too, right? Like this dude, Harry Anslinger, was like, I want to start this war on drugs. And then Nixon was like, let's fucking go, bro. Let's do this shit, you know?
Fucking
So it it's only now to a point where like, when you make everything illegal and make other countries sign on and say it's illegal, otherwise we won't do trades with you or do have business with you or have tourism with you. And yeah, the country's gonna be like, all right, it's illegal. Like, you know what I mean? So it's it's
damn.
it's crazy the way the way shit works because it's like you move the needle like one direction, but you're intending that you're it's almost weird. Like it's you kind of gotta do something to get a different result. Like I want this to happen, but that means I got to do some other shit. So you know how I was saying, I was like, if the state said you got to keep this shit like in a temperature controlled, like very specific, like air conditioned, humidity, like
Yeah.
so that product sits perfectly, then everybody would do it because they would have to do it. It's kind of like the US did the same thing. US was like, hey, if you want to have trades with with our country, bro, like you scratch my back, I scratch your back. Like, same thing with like the age of drinking, right? Across the US. It was different. Like everywhere was like fucking different. It wasn't unified. Then the country was like, all right, we want to create these highways that go through different states, you know. Then they were like, all right, well, we don't want to go through your state if you don't want to make, alcohol like consumption like limited to people at the age of 21. Like if you don't do that, then we can't include you in the interstates. Like, so
Damn.
good luck with
Ima-
that. So they're like, all
Imagine.
right. So every state was like, all right, cool. Well, then I guess 21 is the age for illegal drinking.
Damn. Imagine though, like if like that state or whatever, like didn't wasn't for it, like then they would have to like go through your whole state.
Yeah.
That would be fucked up.
Yeah. It's
That would
crazy.
be
Yeah,
fucked
you
up.
like I said, like it's interesting that like the way we've gotten to where we've gotten to. It's interesting, but it's also kind of scary because that means then that only a certain group of people like whatever entity it is kind of decides that. Just
But
happens to be the government.
that's crazy. I don't know. It's wild. It's very wild, man. And I think a lot of people are not really too woke to notice what's really going on.
But like yeah, like I said before, man, that you can't blame them because it's like it's a lot. Like
Yeah,
you
it
know,
is. But then
it's like
again, like you at least gotta know something, because then you don't want to get too lost, because then you don't know what's really going on. And
some people like that. They like it makes life go easier, right? Like because it just makes things pleasant. Like
I guess that's for
for
some
some,
people.
for
Yeah,
some.
right. For some people, yeah,
I don't have that
yeah.
luxury.
Nah, I
I
like to
do
stay woke.
I do think about those things because I think the more shows you watch, I'm like, dude, are they training us? Like, are they giving us references for in case some shit happens? Like, all these zombie shows, all these you know, like pandemic shows. Oh, guess what happened? Pandemic. All right, so what's you know, at least I know how to. At least if that zombies do happen, the first thing I'm gonna do is try to get their head cut off. Because usually that's how you
Or
kill
shot to
zombies,
the head, yeah, right.
usually the head. So at least I know that. But I don't think we know how to deal with aliens. So
Nah, I don't know. Me neither.
especially if they look like us. And maybe have you seen there's this like superhero show. It's called Invincible on Prime.
Like the animated one?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, I
Well,
haven't.
so oh my God. So if you watch animated shows at all, so this I don't want to kill it for you, but the end of the first season is fucking nuts. You just damn, I can't even really say it. Are you gonna watch it or not? If you're not gonna if you're not gonna
I
watch
don't
it,
care
you can
about
fuck it up.
spoilers. I don't care about spoilers. So it's
All
like
right.
I'll still watch it if I end up watching it.
All right. So spoiler alert for whoever is watching this.
But
Crazy.
this guy's over.
Basically, it's this fucking superhero that has a son. He gets his powers or whatever. If you think Superman level powers, right?
Uh-huh.
Super strong, whatever. This guy is super shady. The Superman dude, the dad is shady as fuck. But he ends up coming from another planet of like all the people on his planet are like him. Like they're all fucking Superman powers, and their goal is to take over all the fucking planets. So he was supposed to go there to conquer the planet, right? So when the son found out, he was like, "Why are you doing this?" Like whatever. he ends up beating his ass all through Chicago, fucking just whooping his ass, like killing people while he's beating his ass. Like the dad is beating the son's ass. And
Oh
then,
shit.
anyways, so what if, yeah, we get like a whole group of people that are from another planet,
Planet.
and they roll up, and we're here, we're trying to tell them like, yo, this shit's gonna happen this way, and they fucking end up, and they end up like, nope, zap, or like fucking, we're taking over. Like,
Damn, like on some superhero shit. I
yeah.
don't know.
But that shit is crazy though. They do show it for an animated series. That shit is like wild. It showed like super bones breaking, like blood everywhere. Like that shit was,
Oh really?
that shit was if you just YouTube Invincible ending, it shit's Invincible fight or some shit. It'll come up. That shit's fucking wild. You're like,
Yeah,
damn,
I'll
people
probably
don't
have to
get
give
the
it a
show.
shot. I'll probably have to give it a shot.
So sorry for the spoiler if you haven't
Oh
seen it.
hell no, don't mind. No, I'll be like, now I know what he was talking about.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, man. I mean, before we wrap it up, and man, you have any questions or anything, before we wrap it up?
No, man, you got any
Yeah,
new
man.
any events you're gonna be going to soon?
Event
Events that you're
wise,
excited about?
uh, event wise, I know this upcoming Saturday, because like Friday this episode would be dropped, so Saturday, January 18th, there's gonna be an event hosted by Midwest Terps.
Hmm.
It's the Mario Kart
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, yeah,
tournament.
I saw that. I saw that.
Uh, yeah, so I might be able to slide through if I have time, and just record some content, stuff like that. So you might see me there if you guys, whoever's listening, pop out over there. But besides that, I don't know any other much events so far.
There's actually, I think there's one happening on the 24th. It's also like a grower meet. But you don't have to grow. I think it'd be cool for people to show up if they go. I'm sure if you look it up, like grower meet Chicago or some shit, it'll pop
Hmm.
up. But if you're interested, and I feel like growers are pretty chill. Like they like talking about their weed for the most part. So like if you have questions, it might be one of the best places to go to. Like if you're interested in starting like your own home grow or some shit, there'll probably be a lot of people there that'd be willing to give you like tips and shit. So,
That's what's up.
but yeah, I can't shout it out because I don't know exactly who's throwing it, but
Uh-huh.
I'm sure if you look it up, it's happening on the 24th. That's all I know because I had to put on the
Got it.
yeah.
No, yeah, man.
Yeah, no, I'm
Oh,
good.
but besides that as well, I think you know who's Moonrock Matt. He's throwing an event on I think late January too.
Oh yeah, yeah. I saw that too. I don't know him personally, but I have him on Instagram. Seen
Yeah,
his
but
video.
yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, so far, I think right now since it's still winter, and shit, it's kind of slow. I'm
Yeah,
guessing once the the weather gets better, it's gonna be a little
that's when
more popping.
I think towards the end of March is when I'm gonna start looking into like those events I was telling you about and
Hmm.
seeing how I'm gonna do it. Because I'm gonna try to do an event with this grow. If not, maybe the I'll do a whole like two-part series or some shit. But we'll see. I'll keep you posted.
No, yeah, for sure. We'll be down to pop out and
Oh,
but yeah, thank you again, Sergio, for coming to the pod. Um, no, yeah, we had a great conversation and all over the all over the
we had
place,
a
but
we had
it was a good.
a
It,
tangent
we
of a conversation for sure.
yeah, but great conversation. Um, I feel like this won't be the last time people at Canada will see you.
Oh,
Um,
gotcha.
but yeah, my guy. Well, again, thank you again, and hopefully everybody out there is listening. We'll keep on smoking out there, and take it easy. Have a good one, guys.
Cool, man.